And of course, Supreme View also dropping it over on Angry Man's side as well to say respect to you, sir. Thank you so kindly. All right, Ryan, I'm going to switch spots with you. All right, I think everybody's been here before, except for Guam Tech. Maybe you've been here before. I'm not sure. But you guys know the rules of this house. Keep your interruptions to a minimum. Keep it within TOS guidelines. And also to the chat, if you don't like anybody on screen, except for Angry Man, he stays all night. You cannot boot him, but anybody else can be booted with a mere $10. Or if you want to get rid of him for the night, it's 100. And also, you can revive and negate somebody else's dono by sending the same dollar amount to negate it and bring them back up. All right, go ahead, Ryan. I already know you want it.
Yeah, of course. So, Angry Man, good to see you again. I guess first off, if this whole go broke thing is true, that I don't know how Radical Coder channel just hit 1,000 subs today. Big ups to all subscribers. We are going straight to the fucking moon. So make sure you guys go over there and check that out. But the main question I have for you, Angry Man, you guys talked a lot about your feelings about how things should be, how you feel things used to be back in the good old days, you know, just booming out about all these things. But I guess what I'm really curious is one of the first things you brought up, which was you said that Ketanji Brown Jackson is not qualified to be on the Supreme Court. I'm just really curious, what are your qualifications that you would lay out for a Supreme Court justice pick, and which one of those does Ketanji not meet?
She would actually have to know what a woman is.
So her having a difference in opinion on how like gender ideology works means she's not qualified to be on the Supreme Court?
That's not a difference of opinion.
So she has an understanding of gender theory and you don't, so you think she shouldn't be allowed in the Supreme Court because you don't understand the things that she understands, is what you're telling me.
Okay, but which
actually makes sense, right?
But she's exercising a theory over a fact. So number one,
gender theory is a way of analyzing like how gender works.
Yeah,
right?
I get what it is. I know what it is.
I don't know if you do.
No, I actually do. The problem is we're talking about a Supreme Court justice who is supposed to deal in law and facts, right? Mm-hmm. And she was asked a very simple question, which is, what is a woman? And she could not answer that question. Now, for you, that may not be a disqualifier, but for me, it definitely is. And part of the reason it would be a disqualifier.
So to be clear, your qualifications are not like legal standards. It's just your feelings about whether someone agrees with you on gender.
It's my opinion. I don't have the power.
So you said she was unqualified, right? And it just sounds like you don't like her opinion on what a woman is, but it seems like you don't actually have any idea of what qualifies someone to be on the Supreme Court, and you don't really care. You just like don't like.
You know what qualifies you to be on the Supreme Court?
Okay, well, can you tell me some things that besides
number one,
the definition of a woman agreeing with yours?
So number one, the first thing that qualifies you to be on the Supreme Court is actually acknowledging reality.
Okay, so in reality, we have a difference between sex and gender because there are people in this world who you might not like this. I know you guys have a lot of problem with the transes and whatever, but there are people in this world who are born one sex and identify with a different gender. You recognize that, right? And if she's a Supreme Court justice, then she also represents people who identify as such. So it's perfectly rational that she would want to represent those people as a Supreme Court justice.
So here's the thing, Ryan. You do realize that you can believe in that and acknowledge that. You do realize I have a right to not believe in that and not acknowledge.
What do you mean believe in that? Wait, do you disagree? Are you saying that there are not people who identify as a gender other than the one they were assigned at birth?
There absolutely is people that do that.
Okay, so and Ketanji Brown Jackson being on the Supreme Court would represent some of those people, right?
She doesn't have to, in order for her to be a Supreme Court justice, she doesn't have to believe in that in order to represent them.
She's not a representative. She's an appointee.
Oh, yeah.
Sure,
but
whatever.
Even if she was, like what you're saying right now is like saying that in order for her to represent white men, she would have to believe.
Just to be clear, your only issue is this issue about trans. She disagrees with you on trans issues, but you don't have any other criticisms of her.
How is she
legal
supposed
qualifications?
to defend people if she doesn't know who she's defending? Right? How is she supposed?
It sounds like she does know
women.
Who she's defending.
She doesn't know what a woman is. She couldn't define.
Who says she? Wait, just because she didn't give a short, quippy answer to the question doesn't mean she doesn't know what a woman is, right?
No, she said specifically she doesn't know what a woman is.
She's
not a biologist.
Ryan, what is a woman?
A woman is it's an archetype that we have that mostly aligns with people who have biological sex of female.
It's a label. Yeah.
So if somebody doesn't
we-
know what a woman is, does that mean that they should even have any ability to make decisions on what affects women?
Even define what a woman is.
Exactly.
So if she outsources her opinion of what a woman is to biologists or whatever, that makes her less qualified or more qualified.
But she
I'm not really
doesn't have
following,
an
so.
opinion on it.
This isn't
She's
a
relying on the
biological
biologist to be able to give
So
her
this
the
is-
opinion.
but again,
and she
this
didn't
this
yet.
is your one issue with Katanji, right? It's all this woman thing. You don't actually have any issues.
Hey, don't
with
run
her
away
legal
from it now.
training.
Don't
You
run
don't-
away
do you
from
even
it
know
now.
anything about her legal background, or is it all just about this one?
well,
twist that
Don't
you-
run away from it now.
well, number
No,
one,
I'm
let me
not.
ask-
I don't
let
give
me
a shit
ask
about
you
this one
Ryan.
thing. Angry
Let
Man's
me
the one who
ask
brought
you
this up
Ryan.
because he doesn't have anything else to
Let me ask
lean
you
on,
this
right?
question, Ryan. Let me ask you this question, right? So if
Go
you,
ahead.
let's say for argument's sake that you had to go in front of or you had to get advice from a lawyer, right? And let's say in the initial consultation, he made a racial comment. Let's say he just said something horrible about a non, a marginalized group. Are you really listening to anything he has to say after that? And I'm asking you your personal opinion.
Black
Potentially,
theory.
but also,
But
like, what's the offensive thing that we're pointing
don't
to?
be disingenuous, Ryan. Because you know good and well if that guy says something that you fundamentally do not believe in and it offends you, you're not going to want to hear nothing else he has to say. Now, this is not even in
I
reference.
mean, that's
to
cartoon.
somebody
I mean, do you know who the fuck I am? Like, I literally come on these panels and I hear things that are quote unquote offend me constantly, and I sit here and I listen in good faith and I engage for
Stop out
hours,
about it.
hours and hours and hours. So, like, I think you got the wrong guy with that criticism.
and you snap out about it.
Yeah, and then I sit here and chill and have a conversation for hours and hours and hours.
And I've seen you go ape shit, Ryan. Come on, man. Don't do that.
Look, hey,
Like, look,
sometimes I
here's
spit
my
my
thing.
truth.
Let me
Sometimes I speak it
clarify.
calmly.
Let me clarify so you can understand. Let me clarify so you understand.
Okay, yeah, simplify it for me.
In based on my understanding of the world we live in, right? If you cannot recognize the reality of biology, what a
Your
woman
feelings on that reality, right?
actually is,
It's your feelings on that reality. It's
No,
what
it's
you
not my
seem to
feelings.
think
It's
is
not my
true,
feelings.
right?
it's not my
It
feelings.
is.
We're talking
It
about
literally is,
biology.
yeah.
We're talking about
Well,
actual
biologists don't
biology.
even agree with your analysis of this, right?
Well, here's the thing. This is the part that annoys me about this whole conversation. You act
Is it
as
the
if
fact that you didn't have any legal requirements
you
for the
act
job
as if-
that you were
Hold
saying
on,
she wasn't
hold
qualified
on.
for?
Finish what I'm
Hold on.
saying.
He was asking. He was telling you.
You act as if she can't advocate for those groups and simultaneously acknowledge what a woman is.
Well, you and I disagree on what woman means. So, like, I think I have a better understanding of it than you.
Isn't that a very important part of being on the Supreme Court, especially if you're doing your interpretation when you offer your vote and then you're offering your interpretation? It's very vital that we're all defining underneath the same terms and understanding the same concepts that are being brought forward. So if there's something as simple as not understanding what a woman is, then how can you even be expected to maybe pass judgment on let's say a court case that comes that refers specifically to being a woman, right? So
Do you guys think that every single legal instance of the word woman is used exactly the same way, and that there's a universal, like, short quippy definition that she could have
We're
given?
not
that
even
would have been
talking about
satisfying to
legal
most people?
definitions. We're talking about one person who is involved in making the decisions that affect women.
Yes,
Isn't
and
that how
so
legal definitions
if the
work?
question is what is a woman, right? There's I don't
No,
know.
the
There's like
question
one
is-
short, quick
is
legal
what
definition.
Should a person who can't even define woman be making decisions that affect women in general?
If she has the experience, yeah, of course.
She doesn't
What
even know where to
experience? She
look for
can't
the
describe it.
definition, though.
But
Well,
you
she
guys
doesn't
don't know
what-
what you guys don't know anything about her background, right? You
We're not-
you all have
it
this one
doesn't
clip. You
rely
guys
on
all saw
us
this
to have
one
to know
clip.
anything
Hang on,
about her
You saw this
background. It's a
one
simple
clip.
question.
You saw or heard this one clip of Ketanji Brown Jackson, and you've made your entire worldview about who should be on the Supreme Court based on this one fucking clip. Do you realize how, like, stupid?
And
that
that's
is?
a shitty clip.
Should she
Brett Kavanaugh likes beer.
ideology over reason? That's my question. Should she
What?
prioritize ideology over reason?
She's not
Um,
endorsing the
Try
ideology.
to map this.
I
Wait,
mean,
hold on. Try to
Everybody does. Rephrase that
try to
question.
map this on
Yeah, that's
anything.
I don't know how to engage with that question.
Very
to be
good,
honest.
Marte.
Try to
very
map this on the sports or anything else. Does this work?
It's not sports. I mean, like we're talking about like ideologies are the things that are manifesting. People's like on the Supreme Court, like the ideologies of the judges come through. Like this is kind of just
No.
Over reason,
Should.
Ryan. Over reason.
What do you mean over reason?
Reason?
I like your ideology fuels your like ability to reason with things.
Reason
Like,
meaning reality, biological facts, things like this. Things that are concrete.
wait, did she say that she doesn't believe that there are like biological females?
Okay, now you're dancing around the subject. She doesn't
I'm
know.
not dancing around it. I think your criticism is garbage.
Ryan,
Like, you guys haven't given any real criticism of Ketanji Brown Jackson, and you haven't given any qualifications except for this one clip. You guys are actually so scared to engage with what you actually said. You said, hang on. Angry Man said explicitly.
Hold on. Go ahead.
Angry Man said explicitly that she was not qualified to be on the Supreme Court, right?
I agree.
And then his standard is some random ass clip, some fucking
It's not a
20-second clip that he saw. He has nothing else. He has no idea. He has no list of qualifications that he would put someone in to be part of the Supreme Court, right?
Ryan, if I may.
Ryan, my
Hold on, I think
reason,
angry. Go
I'll
ahead,
allow it.
Ryan.
my reason is not because of a random clip. My reason is because she refuses to give a definition about an objective fact. Okay, so number one,
What you think
let's
is an
say for
objective
argument's sake, hold on. Let's say because she just got schooled by Amy Coney Barrett recently with one of her goofy interpretations, right? So
In a 6-3 ruling.
let's hold on. Let's be clear about something. So let's say for argument's sake, because we got a lot of issues when it comes to that particular subject. Let's say for argument's sake that you have women that are fighting and suing because they don't want biological males coming into their bathrooms, right? How do you think she's going to interpret the law? How do you think she's going to make a decision based on that circumstance if she doesn't even want to define what a woman is? How can she defend women's rights?
know.
Well, she would probably look at legal precedent. She would probably follow that because that's her job to do, and that's what she's done, and that's why she's so qualified for the job, because she's been in that field doing exactly that for decades, right?
If we're
You
going
sure
based
about
on
that?
precedent, then
Yes, I am
let's
sure about
play
that.
with it. Let's play with
Precedent
it.
is
Even if
clear,
we
yeah.
go, even if we go based on precedents, then defining a female was very specific, and it brings out stuff like Title IX, so on and so forth. So she would have to accept the definition of a female based on precedents alone.
And she didn't.
Well, hang on. You're implying that all the precedents are completely consistent on this, but I mean, trans people have been around and been in the public conscious for like 30 years now, at least, right? So like a lot of legal decisions have been made with all this stuff happening. So
And yet the precedent is still based off of exactly what Sarah just said.
how do you think? Are you a lawyer?
If the legislation
Biological
decides to,
Yeah.
Why is it
Guantek,
that
are you
every
a lawyer?
time I ask a question, you have another question to come back with that has nothing
Okay,
to
so
do
you're not a
with what
lawyer,
we're
right? You're
talking
not a
about.
lawyer.
You
So
don't
you're
have
just
to be
asserting
a
that out of your
lawyer to
ass.
know the
You just
law.
pulled that out of your ass.
Hold
is
on.
what you're
So
saying, right?
obviously there's no answers
Hold
that
on.
you can
You're
actually
undermining
give.
your own
Yeah,
You
you
just
pulled it out of
hold
your
on.
ass is what you're saying, yeah.
Gentlemen, stop. Guamtek, can you ask your question again? I wanted to hear it again.
I was just saying that everything that he just said still stands by the fact of the precedent has still been set. So
And he doesn't know what
it's
the
not an
precedent is.
argument.
You don't know what the precedent is. You're just asserting what it is, right?
I don't have to know what the precedent is if it's already set.
Your whole point, your literal position is based
So
on what the
I
precedent
have to
is.
be a
You're trying to tell me what the
lawyer
precedent
in
is,
order
and you
to
don't know what it
understand
is.
and reason how some of these rules are made. And I don't even understand where your
We
point
do
is
know what
going.
it
What is your goal
We do
here
know what it is.
to ask these
My
kind
point
of
is that
questions?
Angry Man made an assertion saying that Ketanji Brown Jackson is not qualified to be on the Supreme Court.
Yeah,
and his only
it was an
evidence,
opinion.
his only example of evidence of that is some random ass fucking clip that he saw
Uh-huh,
where she
yeah.
doesn't give a satisfactory
Yep,
definition of
yep.
the word woman
So-
in the
so
moment, right? He
your
has
goal
no
here
idea
is
what her
to-
background is. He has no idea what she's done for the past
Gotcha,
30 years.
gotcha.
He has
Yep.
no clue of her history. He's
Okay.
literally it's just a
So
talking
your
point,
goal
right?
here is to change someone's opinion.
No, I'm here to make fun of him for having a bad opinion.
Okay,
I
so
don't-
you
I don't
admit
think
it. You're
I'm
just
changing
here
anything. I think
to
he's gonna
press
double-
buttons.
Pardon me, gentlemen. You know my rule. One at a time, please.
Well,
Yeah, so I'm gonna
first of all,
respond to-
Ryan, you're making
Hang on,
assumptions.
guys. Hang on. I was just asked a question, right? I was asked if I'm here to change opinions, and I said when I'm answering, I'm not here to change Angry Man's opinion. I'm here to point out that his opinion is formed by a bunch of ridiculous biases, and he has no actual grounding for the idea that she's not qualified to be on the Supreme Court. And he's just asserting that because that's the anti-woke narrative that he's baked into this ecosystem of.
Well,
Which
here's the
leads to
thing.
what?
Here's the thing about this, right? Me saying that I don't believe she's qualified to be a Supreme Court justice because she refuses to define what a woman is, I wouldn't say that's bias. Now, if I said I don't think she should be a Supreme Court justice because her name is Ketanji, that would be bias. That would be extremely biased.
Sure.
Right? But what you're doing is you're sitting here saying, "Oh, well, you don't know her history." Ryan, how do you know that?
Well, can you list off some of her qualifications?
No. I want you to answer
Exactly.
my question. How
So
do
I know
you
that because you refuse to, and because the thing you leaned on is the one 30-second clip that everyone knows about her, right? Name one other qualification she had.
Ryan, we're not going to skip past that.
Wait, is the question, how do I know that you don't? Because you haven't demonstrated it.
You made an assumption.
Yes.
And I'm asking you.
You demonstrated.
I'm asking you, how do you know that?
Because you haven't made a single point about her qualifications at all. Not throughout this whole conversation, and not throughout our conversation, not before I came on. At any point, all you did was make an assertion that she was unqualified by your standard. I asked you what your standard was, and you brought up one specific example, this famous quip.
That doesn't prove that, Ryan.
Is it possible
You literally made an assumption and
She
ran
graduated
with it.
from Harvard.
This
Is
is
it
why
possible?
Sure did.
Maybe a really smart woman, right, dodged a question during a luncheon, knowing that answering that question in particular is probably not a very fucking good idea.
Right.
That it's a bait question.
Politically, yeah.
That's one thing I would give to it. I mean, that's the best credence that I think could be given to that.
I mean, you know, rather
But
than
also,
coming up with a
if she
bumbling
can't
answer
define it,
and
then maybe
looking
she
like
shouldn't
people
be.
looked already.
Can I
and
say one
getting
thing
made
before?
fun of, like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so I just wanted to read off like some of her qualifications, right?
If our
So
politician,
she graduated from Harvard. Real quick, Uncle
Hold on,
Fatty, I'm
hold
about
on,
to
Fatty.
go down for a minute. But so she graduated from Harvard, top of her class. She clerked for Justice Breyer. She spent a decade on the bench as a district judge. She has broad bipartisan respect. I don't know. Those all seem like good reasons to consider someone for the Supreme Court.
None of it
Maybe
matters.
you didn't like her
And
one
it's-
answer to this in this one clip that you saw, this 30-second clip. But since it's just curious that you didn't mention any of those things or try to argue with any of those things, you just leaned on this woman
Because they
argument
don't
because again,
matter.
it's part of your
They
anti-woke
don't matter.
narrative, which you have not supported with
Doesn't
anything other than
matter.
your personal feelings throughout this entire
Doesn't have those
hour or so. But I'll see you guys in 10 minutes or whatever.
For the Supreme Court, Ryan. Like you don't even know what you're talking about. Like who's not gonna have qualifications like that that's being suggested to be a Supreme Court justice? That is not even what we're talking about, bro.
They're
Let me read a
prerequisites.
few of these that came in. Kokomo sends 15 to say, have to drop some money for the gauntlet intro. That is fire. Yes, you all dance backstage. None of you lie. I see all of you doing it. Harry Ludwig drops a big 10 just to say hello. Angry Snowman says, also, Ketanji Brown Jackson was hammered during her Senate hearings about her history of giving child schmecks predators light sentences, allowing them to reoffend, and couldn't give a reason why. Anybody want to answer to that? Or
Yeah,
add on to it?
she gave light sentences, and she was extremely lenient, and also she refused to explain why she couldn't expand the courts at all. She's refused several questions. There's like 7 more. I can go on a tangent about this, but she's more than
Wait.
she's
Did
not
she
really
give light sentences only to those people, or is she giving light sentences in general?
in most cases with those predators. She gave light.
No. Disclude those and just all cases. Is she
No,
giving
only
light sentences
mostly
in
those
general?
cases. Mostly those
Okay.
cases. Yes, specifically. Right.
It's kind of odd. And then, of course, Kokomo says, hey, Sarah, we need one of your videos of women for demonstration purposes for Ryan. What is a woman? Well, here you go, Ryan.
This message is sponsored in part by
What a
Sweeney,
birthing
watch out. I think that could have been the commercial right there in and of itself. I don't know who is anybody disagree with?
Men have conquered empires.
Yes.
It's hard to know what someone's motivation is for that type of behavior. It's hard to know, like, without really investigating and really asking them like what they're about, to give light sentences, because it's debatable on like if you should be putting these people into dangerous situations and like getting them putting them into jail with certain people. Isn't it kind of making the jail a more dangerous place, like a more hostile place?
The real
let me
problem
ask
is
you-
the refusal to answer these questions. Much like what is a woman, she refused to answer this. So when she was asked and prompted and backed to a corner why she gave lenient sentences to these people, she obfuscated. She opted out of this. That's the reason why we have such discontent towards her. To be honest with you, that's a reason why. That's
a loaded question, bro.
Discrepancy.
Yeah, I
Let
would
me-
say this. Go ahead, sir.
Sorry. Let me ask this though: if judges were held accountable for re-offenders, right? For people that they maybe give a probation or a light sentence, and the judges were held to some type of accountability of that. Do you think that maybe our judges would be a little more strategic how they
Yes.
how they
Short answer is
give
yes.
sentences?
What happened?
Only if
I really
only if
do-
it's the same case for repeat offenders that they put in jail. So if
I
someone
really-
gets worse, then they would have to get punished for that too.
I really do wish that there was actually some type of thing to combat judicial immunity, because in reality, yeah, judges absolutely have complete immunity. for whatever
Prosecutors.
Yeah, unless they
Prosecutors
commit-
need to be reined in as well.
Yeah, the judicial system has a lot of problems. And yeah, I mean, unless they're actually committing an actual crime, then yeah, and they stay within the sentencing guidelines, so they can go all the way harsh or all the way lenient. They don't get any kind of punishment. There's nothing.
Personally, though, I feel like it's better to be more lenient than not, because our system was built upon letting one innocent man stay out of jail, or rather, 100 guilty men go free, so that one innocent man is left out of jail. And I think that is a better system than just having a heavy gavel where it's guilty, because if they reoffend, then the judge has to face some charges, because I feel like that would make people be more nervous and
If
would
you
give us
made
a more
judges-
Japanese system.
If you made a judge accountable for the behavior of everybody he presided over, that'd be crazy. You might as well just turn off all discrepancy and put everything straight to the max. Nobody's going to come.
Well, maybe not necessarily accountable, like they're gonna get put in jail because they made a bad thing, but holding them accountable to the idea that, like, hey, you've let this many people walk free and or kind of walk away lightly, and X, Y, and Z has consistently happened every time. Like, you're judging, it might be skewed, it might be off. Like, maybe we need to take a look. You know what I mean? Not necessarily.
That's why
like
there's
they're gonna,
guidelines, though. If she's operating inside the guidelines of sentencing, then
yeah.
So the
Yeah.
issue is Ketanji Brown Jackson didn't operate under the guidelines, but it wasn't a general behavior.
Well,
there was one specific case that the Republicans focused in on. That was United States versus Hawkins in 2013, in which case an 18-year-old was being prosecuted for peddling a bunch of child pornography.
Well, there's a huge difference between Supreme Court justices and then you've got your magistrates at the low level and each judge. So when you're talking about low level judges, you're talking about people who are voted in. They're actually voted in. The Supreme Court justices are actually appointed. So you actually do have some type of accountability at the low levels. Now the higher levels, it's really crazy. It's an idea that probably a lot of people have talked about. Term limits. Why not?
Yeah,
I mean,
and-
there's systematic. There's systematic.
Yeah, and they literally appointed a woman that refused to define what a woman is for a lifelong appointment.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
What's the relevancy to how good she's going to be as a judge?
And also, she didn't even know where to look for the answer, because
well, here's
I
the thing.
guarantee she'll tell you that it's that biological sex and gender are different. So
Here's-
why would she go to a biologist when really she needs to, like, a philosopher?
Here's the thing, right? And I didn't want to go into this with Ryan, but I'm seeing now that I'm just gonna have to say it and be offensive. There's a possibility that she's mentally ill. If you don't know what a woman is, that there's a strong possibility that you are mentally ill. And I don't think
What's the
that
legal
Supreme Court
definition for-
justices should be allowed to be on the Supreme Court if they're mentally ill. Like, we haven't established this yet. Like, right now, what we have going on, we don't even know if this is a mental illness because we're not allowed to say it's possibly a mental illness.
But you're saying it right now. That's crazy.
It's like,
Not in an official capacity where we can do research into it. Otherwise, you'll just get labeled an ist and a phobe. Kind of like if you go and you try to pursue like other sort of things that could be seen as you're doing things that seem like eugenics or some other things that the APA or other organizations say are problematic. So it can't be officially researched in a manner that would bear fruit, if there is fruit to bear.
It meets the medical definition of delusion.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, at what point do we allow the boundaries to continue being pushed to where we just accept new definitions on a daily basis? And if we're just going to keep changing the definition of, then what the hell do any of our words mean? What does it mean to be a woman then? If we're just going to keep changing what a woman is to begin with, there's no value in words or definitions anymore because we just keep moving it until it fits whatever little bubble we want it to fit in. So yes, I think
there's like a
sorry,
really
go ahead.
simple.
they know what a
philosophy of
man
language
is.
concept
If
here.
you ask them what a man is, they'll say, "Oh, he's a patriarchal fascist prick." Like, they know what a man is.
Right. So
I mean,
it's a
this
double
gets
standard.
very deep into like philosophy of language. There's a concept called implicit versus explicit knowledge in terms of like terms here, where a lot of people have the implicit knowledge of what a woman is. But when you ask them, hey, can you convey this in explicit terms to tell me what a woman is? We have a lot of fuzziness around the edges there. To the point where if we kick the can down the road, say like an adult human female, well, what makes someone a female? What makes someone an adult? We get these kinds of questions. And if we can't give the hardline definition, that's not saying we don't know what a woman is. It's saying we just can't explicitly define it, which is
I always thought that it was a wound person.
I can explicitly define it.
Carburetor
Okay,
works.
can you give me an explicit definition
I mean, how
that's not going to
carburetor
get
works.
this fuzziness?
I put one in the back chat.
Were you born with a uterus and a vagina?
And ovaries.
And,
Okay, so
and
people
that
who are-
doesn't mean we like there are those exceptions, like people that are medical and not
It actually does.
Anomalies?
not. Thank you.
It actually does. It
Those are
actually does.
deformities,
That's
though.
the point. We can
That's
have the
not
very
a-
general rule of what a woman is.
That is
But then we
but
get
it's
to the
a
point of like,
deformity.
this
It doesn't change the
anomaly that we still
categories.
say is. a
If I
woman.
was
But are
born
they
with only
women?
one, if I was born with only one arm, and we generally say humans have 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 feet, 10 toes, 10 fingers, right? That doesn't mean that I was born without one arm, therefore I'm
She's
not
perfect.
human.
I agree.
Right?
I agree, though, Sarah. But that's just saying what I'm saying. Of it doesn't seem to be the case that you need to have 2 arms to be a human. Generalize it. We might function as if this is like a tendency for how language works, but we have the fuzziness in these definitions. We have the
but the
implicit
lack
knowledge
of
there.
the lack of having the arm, right? That doesn't negate the fact that I was biologically supposed to have the arm. I just had a medical exception happen to where having that arm was negated, right? Something
Like
happened.
being blind.
Like being blind, right? I'm biologically created to where I should have 2 eyes, 1 nose, 1 mouth, a bunch of teeth, pretty hair, whatever. But that doesn't mean that something can't go wrong in the function. Just the same as like a manufacturing mold, right? You have a mold that makes a very specific bowl, and every mold that you implicit or that you impact is supposed to make that specific mold. That doesn't mean that every once in a blue moon that machine might get that mold incorrect. But does
I got
that
a
mean that the
question.
machine doesn't make that mold anymore and that mold isn't the specific thing? No, it just there was a
Deformity.
Can I ask, is a man
No,
is,
sir,
is someone
I'm
a man
agreeing
if they
with
don't
you
have a
here.
penis?
So
Is someone a man if they don't have a penis?
Generally, Sarah,
What I'm
but I'm
Or are
saying
they
for it,
eunuch?
what I'm saying is you can still define a woman as having a womb, the uterus, a vagina, Typically, she has breasts. She has the specific chromosomes and the hormones go a specific
Men
way
can
with
have
the
breasts
estrogen. Well, those are called
Okay,
man
but
tits,
men
and that's
have
for
the
being.
this is my
XY chromosome.
Not
Why?
true.
Why?
Not true.
Why,
Sarah,
why
this
is
is my
it?
point,
Why?
though.
Why
When we're
is
saying
this so
generally, or
difficult?
we're saying
This
typically,
is not difficult.
when we're
Yeah,
saying generally,
it's
when
only
we're saying
complicated if you
typically,
want to
we're
make it
moving
complicated.
outside the realms.
Because
There's nothing
We're getting
that's
to the idea of,
outside.
like, it's typically it's a woman.
Reproductively, there are
Typically
two
the case, a
sexes.
man
This is
has
not. There's no ambiguity there unless you try to find ambiguity. You're describing
is just-
deformities. The deformities don't change the two categories.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, this is the implicit knowledge.
Okay, is a
versus the
man
explicit
is a
knowledge.
person a man if
When
they
we
don't
have
a
the
penis,
idea
though?
of I can identify Sarah as a woman, I can agree, I can do that. I can identify Dusty as a man. I can say that these two things are distinct. When we try to explicitly give the definition of what these two things are, we get that fuzziness because we have limitation between what we implicitly know to be the case.
Some
not
cats,
fuzzy
some
to
cats
me.
have penises.
We
Are
get
they
into
men?
ideas like generalities.
What's
We
an
get into ideas of
example-
generalities. I'm
hold on,
agreeing
what's
with
a
this.
real
Hold
example?
up.
Ugh.
Somebody said earlier, well, men can still have tits. Yeah, when he's 39 years old and sits around all day, yes, you can have
But he
tits. If
can't.
you
He's just fat.
overeat, exactly. Like you can overeat, and what is it? Bob had bitch tits, right? It's a thing.
Does
Okay.
does he lactate as
It was
well?
meatloaf, by the
Right,
way.
right.
Can
To the guy that said the tits, does he
they
lactate as
can
well?
they can
Well, there's dogs
they
that
literally
have dicks.
can yeah.
There's dogs that
Naturally,
have
though?
penises.
Under what
Are they
circumstance?
men?
No, not
Under
naturally.
what
It's drugs.
circumstance?
But it's different. It's way different. You can't use drugs in order to
Hold
invert
on, let me ask you a
and
question.
totally morph
Let me
your
ask you a
genitals
question.
into the opposite genitals, right?
Let me ask you
But
a
you
question.
can do the
There's cows that have penises. Are they men?
Let me ask you a question.
What are we doing here?
are they human?
Lactate under what circumstance?
Now we're on to something. Now you can recognize the definition of something. What is a human?
What are you talking about?
So you can't recognize the definition of a man or a woman, but you can recognize the difference between a human and an animal.
I'm questioning if a person can be called a man without a dick, or is it a eunuch?
It can be called anything you want to call it.
I guess then you're
Can
just
you-
being a postmodernist, right? But
Well, so this is the
that's-
real issue, though. Let's get right down to the crux of the matter, right? So it makes a difference, the difference between a man and a woman, because of the fact that when it comes to implicit bias against a man or a woman, right? When it comes to court cases, if a judge can't tell the difference between that, then how are you going to be able to tell whether somebody's been discriminated against or not?
Oh.
Well, if she can't tell the difference, she shouldn't be in charge of any court case that's dealing with that matter.
Bingo.
Exactly.
Fired. Evan
But
Lord,
she doesn't
you-
have to, right? She doesn't
Evan-
have to. And not all judges should know everything.
No, she's
right?
a
And they
Supreme,
should be
she
able
would
to
be a
ask-
Supreme Court justice.
If you
This is her
can't
job.
start
Right.
with the basics, though, if you can't start with the basics of what is a man and what is a woman, and you can't actually differentiate between the two and clarify that willingly, openly, and without hesitation, I think that's a problem for a judge to have, especially
Listen.
when we have our Title IX stuff and we have the Roe v. Wade and all these things that affect women very specifically. You had better because I'd be damned if some judge goes up there and there's like a woman's something at stake and she can't define what a woman is. So just, hey, you let them have it. It's a free for all. Evan, you said
Well, no,
if.
she shouldn't be in
Hold on
charge
just
of
a
anything
second.
that she can't.
Evan, you said if on this. Are you saying to go ahead and boot him, or is this a shot fired as a warning?
It's like a future thing. Like, I understand Corinth was being interrupted and he wanted to go and continue to make his point. But if he continues to kind of like talk while other people are talking and he doesn't give them like the space to respond to what he says, then it kind of creates some issues.
So
So
this
you're
is
just
a
holding the
warning
gun to his
shot.
head.
Yes. This is a warning shot, Corinth. Evan, when you make that decision, you just let me know. You are in charge of that decision. That credit is being held. Okay. I'm sorry, I interrupted. Who was talking? One of you.
Well, I was just saying that a judge doesn't need to know everything, and if she can't define something, then that would exclude her for anything that would include that definition until she's ready to define it in an agreeable manner with other law officials, right? And that doesn't disclude her, but it obviously you have to be clear and concise and explicit when you're dealing with law. But also, all these people are politicians as well, and it's a political kind of landmine to step on. You know, you're dividing one side or the other. So I don't blame her for not answering that question. I just think that it should disclude her from a bunch of cases involving that.
Yeah, if she wants to play a political game, then she doesn't need to be a Supreme Court justice. That is an appointed position. It is not a voted in position.
It is a political position.
Have you seen the clip from 2 weeks later when they ask her in a different environment and she answers
Lifetime appointment.
It's not supposed to be a political position.
It's not political because it's lifetime.
It is. It's a third branch, right?
Well, I mean, once you're in, you're
But
in.
you're supposed to be, but you're supposed to be. You're not supposed to be leaning one way or the other.
It's supposed to be less influential. Right. It's the least influenceable part of the political system, but it's still very much exactly a political position.
It can be, yes, sir.
That's why we don't want president like installing 4 or 5 judges in one time, right? That are all hardcore righties.
Well, that's the thing. You should be excluded if you're voting one side. Then you should be excluded from anything that's dealing with.
That's not how yes men work. Though.
You said appointing 3 hardcore righties. I would think that would be to balance out the hardcore lefties that were already there.
Smells like bait.
Yeah, it's been pretty balanced. There's typically one more conservative than there are liberal judges throughout history. That
one vote margin is a good place to be maintained.
Yeah, it stays there pretty much. 1 or 2 have been added. It's at 9 now. I mean, this isn't like a whole lot of people getting voted in, randomly over. This
lifetime appointment, like
lifetime appointment.
Can you really consider Chief Justice Roberts a hardcore righty?
Nah, he's not that crazy. He's a righty, but he's not hardcore.
He's a righty, but he let's be real. It depending on the wind, which way the wind is blowing.
Of the many throughout history,
You think that he ever got a second place trophy?
I don't know why.
Roberts, definitely.
But the nature of the two-party system is that candidates that are win or are selected in the system will be closer towards the middle than on the extreme ends. So it's sort of self-correcting.
I agree.
And McConnell played a 12-year game, right? And delayed and denied everything that Obama wanted to do.
We get it. You hate Republicans.
No, bro. I hate them both.
Bad Duck comes in over on Angry Man's side and says this argument has always been stupid. Man has XY chromosomes, women have XX chromosomes, and nothing changes that. Anything else is a anomaly. I said it this time.
Should our judges just say that those people don't exist? I refuse to engage with anything about them, and we are just going to leave them to their own devices.
No, them out. Category 2.
Scrap them for parts.
I didn't say that the judge should say that they don't exist. My issue is with her not defining a woman.
Right. In that moment.
Well, hold up, though. I mean, would we go and change laws for to accommodate women who have breast implants?
No.
What?
No. Would we change laws and make policies to protect people or help people who have had like nose surgery to change their noses or any other type of cosmetic surgeries, anything of the sort? So if we're not going to accommodate all of these surgeries and cosmetic changes for people to make them feel better, then why are we changing all of these other policies for other people who are having other surgeries and other cosmetic changes on their own demise?
Because the way the country is moving, right? The main minority group that was the doing the most complaining was the Black community. But as we've moved into this age, a lot of Black people have moved out of the I'm just going to keep complaining. And, Black people have seen a lot of economic, an economic uptick. And so you start to see more Black people that are Republican, more Black people that are conservative. They're not in that victim mode set. So now they have to find a new group to be the new victims for whatever political agenda, and that group is you know what that group is like. So it's ridiculous because you're talking about a percentage of the population that's what, less than 1%.
Yeah,
it's like less than 1%, right?
Yeah, and you guys have been hyper fixated on it for an hour and a half now.
So Ryan came in and threw that bomb out there because we were talking about wokeness and the fact
what it takes to be a judge, right?
You said what?
Into it. He asked you what it takes to be a judge, right? And you brought this issue. You brought this issue into it.
Okay, so number one, Uncle Fatty, you don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Let's
go back to what actually happened, right?
He asked you
what was one of the first things when me and Sarah were having the one-on-one. Yeah. That was one of the first things that was brought up. Ryan heard it and latched onto it.
I understand.
We didn't even go into Supreme Court judges. We were talking about wokeness and how wokeness is changing the society and how wokies are a bunch of losers. Now, the moment that Ryan came up, he brought up that because he wanted to deflect away from the woke piece about wokies being losers. I know that's why he did it. And so now we've been talking about this for too long, if you ask me, because at the end of the day, if you're a Supreme Court justice that doesn't know what the fuck a woman is, you shouldn't be a Supreme Court justice.
And besides, I also don't understand why a man.
Why would a man want?
Go ahead and play.
Why would a man want to redefine what a woman is, and I don't know, implicate that men are women? That's pretty sus. Pretty sus.
Exactly.
Also, how is that even related to wokeness in the first place? It seems like it's like proxied in there because wokeness has to do with actual discrimination, and this is an ambiguity.
Yeah, it's an outlier, and that's why Angry Man was saying, he kind of interjected it as if it's the conversation, but in reality, he's just trying to redefine a woman because he wants men to be his woman, which is kind of. Hey.
Hey, real quick, can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I can hear you now.
All I see is that it had a place. It had a place if you're being discriminated against, if you're in the inner cities in the early 1900s being discriminated against, and you got to stay vigilant to actions being taken against your community. You look at LA and some of the communities in LA, the black communities in like the 50s and 60s, they were nice. They were just like any other communities, like in the Compton areas, I think.
They were nice in the 80s, bro.
Well, it got bad, right? It really got tore down.
There was no racism.
To the point where there was a systematic attack on a community, and there's still systematic attacks on other communities. It's like this group is moving through all these communities that aren't fully agreeing with the elite status quo, and they're trying to break them down and replace them and do all these things. So it had its position, right? But now I feel like it's been co-opted, controlled opposition in order to diminish like the reality and the necessity for vigilance, because it seems like that's what the term woke is to be vigilant against being undermined, like there. Yeah, so that's all I have to say.
That's not what woke is. That's absolutely not what woke is. Woke is, this is what woke is, right? So back in I want to say the 80s, 90s or whatever, right? There were
the 30s it began.
No, I'm not talking about that.
That's when it was. That's when it began. Is in the 30s, is what I'm reading.
You're reading that from Wikipedia?
Satanic Panic, bro. It was fucking crazy. You should have been there.
Or is it going off of like the Frankfurt School hitman?
They were right though.
You're reading that from Wikipedia or Google?
Feminism?
Yeah, so it's used since the 1930s to refer to awareness of racial prejudice and discrimination, is what Wikipedia provides.
You're reading.
So it's a black term used in the 1930s.
Can I tell you? Do me a favor, Hitman. Can I tell you about why the black term is used in the black community that I spent my entire life in, instead of you giving me a reference from Wikipedia?
Well, yeah. What I said is it's co-opted.
Can we possibly do that? I would like to do that.
I'd like that.
So-
So you had no clue that it was used in the 30s?
Well, hold on.
My mic,
It says
is it on? Is my mic on?
it says the
Marcus
earliest.
Garvey.
Is my mic on? Like, so do me a favor. What I want you to do.
Well, here's
What I
what it
want-
says for.
What?
I'm sorry. For what I'm pulling is 1938. The earliest recorded instance is from the blues musician Lead Belly, Hootie Ledbetter. In his recording of the song Scottsboro Boys, he advises listeners to stay woke and keep their eyes open, while in Alabama, a warning related to the danger of racist violence. That's the earliest that it's showing that it was like utilized as a word. But overall, it says woke originated within Black communities in the early 20th century, where it meant being aware of racial and social injustices.
Okay, that's what it has become, right? So
Originated from Marcus
Isn't it
Garvey in
watch
the
out for the
30s.
man?
that's what it has become. But originally, whenever there were portions of the Black community that was considered pro-Black and things of that nature, we referred to it as being conscious, or the conscious community, right? What woke has become today is so-called marginalized groups commandeering the victimhood of that particular community and then utilizing it as social currency. That's what it's become, right? Because mostly when you look at the woke movement of today, it has always, this is the reason why you see so many Black people willing to be a part of that movement, even though a lot of the ideology is not typically from Black culture. That ideology is not like everything that you guys are talking about right now. When it comes to what a woman is, and when it comes to this particular community or that community, that was taboo in the Black community. Yes, we had people in the Black community that were gay, but we just live and let live. We overlooked that, but we never were the champions of that. We never were the group that was fighting tooth and nail for that particular thing.
Until somebody told us to start being scared of those people.
What are you?
Who was scared of gay people? It's kind of like a common sort of like disgust
right.
reaction.
Right?
Marte might be.
Right, like fearing, like
no reason, I think, in this case,
using people as scapegoats and stuff, and like this, the psyop that we're all not living in, right?
Oh boy,
Are you
I think
scared
it
of?
was
I
in the
think-
one-
I think
scared of
what it
them?
is-
In New York, they might have a different opinion on the Black community and its support with gay rights than if you were in a southern state.
All the intersectionality components it's just different groups trying to grab onto social rights success and pull their little group up with it.
Okay,
And you gotta bash the other group while you're at it, though, Felicity.
So here's the thing, right? You brought up New York culture, right? You brought up New York
Yeah,
culture. So
like Africa Bambaataa, right? Like he
So-
was involved in that type of thing, right?
yeah, and do you know how the Black community views African Bambaataa?
Well, now it's bad, but at the time, they loved him. So
Because
after it gets on the news,
at the time, the Black community didn't know he was into that.
I don't know about that.
How do you?
People didn't know Donald Trump was
Bro, I'm a
The
Gen
media didn't know
Xer.
about
I
that. That's
live-
for sure.
We have a
Media
real
didn't know
old
about
Black
that.
person here to tell us about it.
This is crazy. Like he's literally
Well, how do
telling
you
me
know?
from Wikipedia what my experience is as a Black man.
Okay. The Black community
in
had
the-
no
in the
clue what he was
90s,
doing.
In the 80s and 90s.
The
Bro,
Black
I'm
community had no
telling
clue
you,
what Africa
bro,
Bambaataa
I'm
was
telling
doing.
you,
Okay, I'll
I'm
give you that.
telling you what my culture is. In New York, yes, you had people in that particular community, but we were never the advocates of that. We were never the advocates of that until recently.
Who are we? Who are we?
Black
Obviously,
people.
some Black people were.
Black people.
Some Black people definitely were.
Some, but not the
in
majority.
the trans and club
There
stuff
you
in
go,
New
Sean.
York
Gotcha.
City, they were.
Heard you.
Who?
In the ballroom stuff, they were.
David Bowie,
Who?
Freddie Mercury, maybe. I don't know. Come on.
Who is a good question.
Freddie
So you're
Mercury.
saying we, right? So who is we? You're now saying that you are encompassing all the black community into one, but clearly there was a black community that did heavily support
So
gay and
hold
trans.
on, let me make sure I
activism.
understand. Let me make sure I understand the mind fuck that's going on right here, right now.
Ooh.
You're
What
a
mind
guy.
fuck?
You're a guy that I'm pretty sure advocates for
Oh,
representation.
you
right?
no. I'm just saying what I
hold on
know.
for a second. Hold on for a second.
I'm
Hold
not
on for a second.
advocating
Let black man
anything. I'm
finish.
just trying to get the
Hold on for a
record
second.
straight.
Hold on for a second. Because one of the things that annoys the shit out of me is when white liberals try to tell black people about their fucking experience.
How do you know I'm a liberal?
Because you got pink hair. That's how I know you're a liberal.
Well, that's not a liberal,
not a liberal?
or Republican.
You're not a liberal?
I would say I'm a moderate.
You're a
There, I
moderate.
gave
Okay,
you-
cool. Then my mistake.
gave
You're a
you-
moderate. Well,
But
let me
I would say I
rephrase
would
it.
lean
Let me
towards
rephrase it.
more
Let
on
me
the right
rephrase
side.
it. Let me not put the political connotation in it. Let me say it like this. I am sick and tired in this day and age of white people telling me what my black
Racist,
experience is.
No, I'm just talking about history. I'm not talking
I'm
about your
talking about
experience. You're
history.
talking about your experience, and you're
I'm
saying that
talking
your
about
experience
history. I'm damn
equates
near half a
to
century
the
old. I'm talking
entire
about
black
history.
community. You are
How old are
not
you?
the entire black
How
community.
old are
You're
you?
one man.
How old
You're
are
one
you?
angry man.
How old are
What
you?
does this have to do with anything? You're
How old
one
are you?
man. So your
How
experience
old are you?
will not include the experience
How
of
old are
African
you?
Bambaataa.
How old are you?
It will not include the experience of Grace Jones.
How
It will
old are
not
you?
include any of the
How
experience
old are
of any
you?
counterculture
How
to your.
old are you?
What does this have to do with anything? You want me to
Just
dox
answer the
myself
question.
on the internet? How old
Just
are you?
answer the
No, I'm not
question.
answering that question.
Of course not, because you know answering that question is going to prove one definitive thing. You don't
No,
know
I'm
what
just
you're
not-
talking about.
I'm
You
just
just
not gonna
got
tell you my
here.
age.
You just got here. Now you're bringing up
What did I
African
say that was
Bambaataa, and you
incorrect?
don't even know anything about African Bambaataa. You don't have a clue.
I know that he was taking in young people and housing them up, and there
assaulting
was
them sexually.
there
Do you know
was
about
some
that
stuff in
part?
there. Yeah, I do.
Do you know?
And there was
Okay,
a lot
so
of
number
there was a lot
one,
of gay activism
when
going on in
African
New York City.
Bambaataa, when African Bambaataa first came out, the general public of black people did not know he had that going on. And when we found out he had that going on, we then looked at him negatively. You don't know what you're talking about.
So the general population, that would include who?
Black people.
Well, some people were dealing with it, and obviously no one can keep secrets that well. So it didn't come out for how many years later? It didn't come out until there was when did it come out? Around the Me Too movement?
Yeah, and guess what?
So how that's super convenient.
And guess what?
No one
we
knew.
We did not live in the freaking social media age. There were a lot of
KRS-One
secrets.
knew.
There were a lot of secrets in the 80s and 90s that we're just now finding out about recently about certain people in the black community. What I'm telling you is the position that black people have always had. We knew that Luther Vandross was gay. We knew Freddie Jackson was gay. We didn't trip about that, but we were never advocates of that. And the reason why we were never advocates
Who's
of that
we?
is because, can I please finish talking? We were never
Yeah, but you're
advocates of
saying
that
we.
because-
You're not the
Bro,
whole black
Bro,
community.
can you
So
let
who's
me
we?
finish talking? Can you let me finish talking? You might learn something. The
Go ahead.
reason why we as black people, especially in the Gen X
Again,
era,
we as black people.
especially in the Gen, I can say
Imagine
we
if
as
I
black
said we
people.
as white people. No,
I can say
that
we
you
as
don't get
black
to
people.
do
I
that.
can say
You don't
that.
get to do that.
Yes, I do. I absolutely
No,
do.
you don't. No, you don't, because your experience is not the same as every other black person.
Bro, I'm gonna say this
define
again.
Black.
Are you
Define
gonna
black.
let
Where are
me
black
finish
people
talking?
from?
Are you gonna let me finish
Where are
talking?
black people from?
Are you gonna let me finish talking? Are you gonna continue?
Can you answer
are you
my
gonna
question? Where are
continue-
black
Are you
people
gonna
from?
continue to give me a
Where's
lecture
the
about
origin
black
of black
people?
people?
Are you
Is
gonna
it-
let me
is it
finish talking? Or are you
Australia?
gonna continue to give me a
Is
lecture
it
about black
Australia?
people?
Is it Nigeria?
Bro,
Is it
check
South
this out.
Africa?
I think
Where
I
is
think
the
hold
origin
on,
of
hold
black
on, hold on,
people?
hold on, hold on. I think essentially it's okay to offer a generalized statement about your experience as being that person. Just the same as I could say, me as a woman, this is what my experiences are, and I could equivocate that and say, I've already spoken to a lot of other women who have the same experience as me, and we speak holistically in that direction. I think it's fair for Angry Man to say that, and speaking for we, in terms of what he means by we. I think that's okay. Go ahead.
Well, here's the thing. You may not be able to say we as white people. You belong to a much larger demographic. I belong to a smaller demographic in this country. And we have certain things. We have certain things that I can say that are going to be more common amongst each other than you would think. And one of the things that we all have in common, especially if you're a Gen Xer, we were mostly brought up in the church. And because we were mostly brought up in the church, we had something against that particular lifestyle. We did not promote that.
How are you going to say that when black crime is the highest ethnic group, and you're trying to say, oh, you're this group that's
the problem with wokeness. You think you know everything.
Dude, you're painting a false picture. You're trying to say that all these black people are saints and they reject all this stuff.
Excuse me. You're the expert on black people. I don't know what I'm talking about.
All I know is black Americans are the highest in violent gun crime.
This is why I have a problem with wokeness, because you think
how is that woke? You're trying to say that black people are all brought up in the church, and I question
about the black culture. How the hell are you lecturing me about what I lived?
Church people don't go and kill.
Who said anything about that?
Well, a lot of black people do that. Is that not true?
You said church people don't kill, right?
Yeah.
What was the Crusades? You sound like an idiot right now. You're reaching, you're windmilling, and you're reaching, and you sound like a moron right now. What I'm saying to you,
my family was raised in the church.
What I am saying to you,
people
don't kill. What I'm saying to you, fundamentally, is that up until recently, because most black people were brought up with a Christian background and very religious, most black people did not advocate for that. We didn't hate on it. We
Have you listened to rap music ever?
Bro.
Yeah, that's it. That's
all right.
Have you listened to rap music ever?
Have you listened to African Bambaataa ever?
Rap music. So now black culture is defined by rap. Yo, bro, you're lucky I'm not a race baiter.
But rap music is still a
race baiter, bro.
Black culture.
You're so lucky I'm not a race baiter, because I'd be in here, oh my God, this is racist. Like, I'd be going ham right now. Do you even realize what you're doing right now?
He's so dumb.
Hey, so what am I doing? Have you heard a rap song?
Bro, you're a white guy giving a black guy a lecture about black culture.
No, you're trying to paint black culture as something that I don't believe that it is.
You can believe whatever you want to believe.
How do you know? How do you know? All right, Hitman, the boot came in. I'm putting you backstage.
I know what country music culture looks like.
Ryan's
what that looks like. Where did country music?
I don't believe that's one
rap music looks like.
All right.
Where did country music come from? Hold up. Where did country music come from?
We are so fucking back.
It's really frustrating when black people don't know they need to pay.
Pardon me. Let me read a few super chats that came in. Harry Ludwig sending 10 just to say hello to everyone. Sponsored by Gen X says, what is the decision when a trans woman wants to implement her lesbian wife to abort a developing human? Who will have the say in a court? That's a good question, actually. That's a very good question. How do you determine that?
Maybe the lesbian, whoever's the one carrying the child.
Just as confusing as it looks, Ryan.
The birthing person, you mean, Ryan?
Yeah, sure. What's wrong with that?
It's a little dehumanizing, is my opinion.
How is birthing person dehumanizing?
Like you're reducing someone
Calling
to
them
their biological
person. They're literally like someone who's pregnant, right? A pregnant person is pregnant person dehumanizing.
You want to be called?
If you don't want to be gendered, you're an
Yes,
it.
it is
We have a word
dehumanizing,
for that.
Brian. Very
Is pregnant person dehumanizing, Evan?
I personally think so. Like that.
Yeah, 'cause you're an idiot. Okay. So anyway, are there more super chats before I give my spiel and then get kicked again?
Lawrence King getting his new membership. Executive Suite says for a woman to struggle with the question, what is a woman, is insane. They never ask what is a man. It's an agenda that is losing steam. Crazy. Yeah, I find it insulting. Just in my personal feelings about it, it's very insulting for somebody to say what is a woman. It's like, are you kidding me? Like you could look across the room and say that's a woman and that is a man.
Ryan.
So yeah,
I agree. In fact, Katanji was probably also in
Man, Ryan.
Record and just
hang
for
on,
the record,
hang on, hang the fuck on before you ask me some other question.
Hold on,
hold on. Go ahead, angry man.
Let me just say this, and just for the record, this is part of the reason why Black people that are gay have been so vocal recently, because there was a time in the Black community where they were not acknowledged. They were overlooked. Okay. So I'm not trying to say I experienced every Black person's experience. I'm just telling you guys what was generally being done in Black culture during my childhood into adulthood.
Okay, thank you for sharing. So I just wanted to quote Ketanji Brown Jackson's actual answer to the question.
Oh my God, he went right
clearly
back to her.
you didn't know this, right? So I looked it up. We watched it on my stream because I was curious.
I'm sending you $10.
I just want to read it, and I have notes about the actual topic too. So I just wanted to say this for the record so that we're all aware. So she said, Senator, are we going to let me say it? Okay. So it says, Senator, in my work as a judge, what I do is I address disputes. If there's a dispute about a definition, people make arguments, and I look at the law and I decide. Seems like a pretty reasonable answer to the question, right? So I want to speaking to the prompt. Anti-wokeness is actually the cheat code. If you dog whistle Nazi rhetoric and your stock prices will surge through because of all the controversy. If you record yourself calling some Black kid the N-word, you get a massive GoFundMe and make an entire career out of it.
If you kill a white kid, you make money too.
If you peddle reactionary rhetoric, especially if you are from a minoritized background, you will fly up in the algorithm because there's nothing more that anti-woke people love than seeing someone who's Black complain about Black people, seeing a woman complain about women, seeing a trans person complain about trans people. Anti-wokeness is the cheat code. You fucking losers. I'll see you.
White saviors love having something to do.
It wasn't the cheat code 4 years ago. You're fucking moron.
You're just wrong. It always has been.
How can women complain about women if we don't know what a woman is? Evan comes in with a big 5 and says, to be charitable for the leftist meaning of woke, it sounds like the right-leaning phrase, noticing noticer. I don't think the current wokeness is that. Robert Demita says, win 8 months. Thanks for all the streams, Sarah. You're most welcome. And of course, our darling Heart Attack got kicked to the back for disrespecting his elders. Angry Man knows the community culture he grew up with, and he has the gray hairs of wisdom to prove it.
Can I say something about that? I actually asked him literally the exact same question. How old are you? And I got a fuck you. And I'm surprised that he didn't.
I'm putting you in back too.
Hey, okay, fine. You can do that. But
you asked me how old I was?
No. I'm saying that I asked the kid, I asked him, how old are you? Because I'm like 40 years old. And he was literally saying the same stupid shit.
You look good for 40.
Yeah, I know.
Cash app.
Good genes. I'm a Jones. But no, I got the fuck you. I was just surprised that he didn't give you the fuck you. Just saying.
Wow.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was in sensitive territory, but I'm not. I don't
believe
race
that.
bait, so I'm not gonna do that. But I just found it wild. Like, you can't tell somebody their experience like that. That's
well, Angry
crazy.
Man. I agree. You can't do that. But I have a chatter who says he's older and blacker than you, and says you're entirely wrong.
And let me read one more, and then Ryan, you got the boot to the back. At Hitman, the whites had the Macaroni Club in the 1800s, the early stages of switching community. Did you know that? Look it up. Him. I don't know what the Macaroni Club is.
And for the record, Ryan, if he's a boomer, I really don't give a shit what he has to say.
Well, Gavin says, Ryan, get your dumb ass back there. And then Bueno Kitty says, boot Ryan, please. My woke dars say less YT man privilege, more cancel for the participation award target. And then also Powder Dusty sent 20 to also keep Ryan to the back. So you got to
I
wait
sent
back
10
there.
to kick Ryan to the back, and then 10 to change Marte's name to Margay. Margay. Make it work. Make it work.
Fair enough. I got you.
Why are you being woke?
Why am I being woke?
Yeah, why are you being so woke right now, bro?
I'm not the rainbow one here, Margay.
Just to go.
All right.
To go and explain my super chat a bit, I feel like the people who go and complain about online saying, "Hey, do you notice?" I feel like those people would be even more annoying than some of the woke stuff now if they had the institutional power that the current woke people have, and you can kind of see it a bit with the if you look at books and stuff like that, they had an entire Zionist lists or whatever where they basically exposed authors for being Jewish and not denouncing Israel. So it's kind of in that sense, it feels like anyone who's just going to be heavy-handed about suppressing others with no good reason, they'll just be irritating and just be societally destructive.
What institutional power do woke people have?
I would say when Larry Fink and several other major investment agencies go and push it, and they will say that they won't go and send their thousands of shareholders' money to businesses unless they don't go along with what they promote. Then I would say that is a major institution that goes and backs that. And
who's
Larry Fink,
who's Larry Fink? That the milk guy?
he is the head of BlackRock, or
BlackRock. I thought you were talking about
When I think of institutional power, I think of politics.
You don't think of the
Jimmy
money
Kimmel
behind
fired for
politics?
the same thing Alex Jones got banned for, which is questioning official narratives about a death.
Not really, no.
And Marte Margay says with a big 5, Ryan is a poorly placed plant, a walking overcorrection of a woke panelist. Brock says people claim to be woke yet deny objective truth and reason. I think that's a fair assessment, actually. When we
Brock.
Not really.
forget where our logic and reason is, and we just kind of peel apart a banana of feelings and maybes, and let's just change all the definitions because why not? Martin says, I can't with Ryan. Go woke, go broke, kick please. Yes, a lot of you came in for that one.
5 stored kicks?
Yeah, pretty well. They all just kind of came in at the same time. Sizey says Gen Z doesn't
What's the
claim
refund
him
policy?
or her. And then Margay says to change Dusty's name to Destiny. You are now officially Destiny.
That profile picture with your new name, really, the two go hand in hand, don't they?
Tell me all kinds of names. Go ahead, Destiny.
Uh-huh. An executive suite says, being born in 2000 plus, you are in no position to lecture Angry Man about the Black experience or anything about Bambaataa. Wikipedia can't explain Black culture. That's fair. That's fair.
I was actually
fair.
going to
Yeah,
ask
there's some nuance there. There's a little subtle nuance there.
I was actually going to ask Angry Man if
the
you
main
want to take
issue there
this
was that
time to actually sit and
position.
tell all of us white people about white culture and heavy metal and all the stuff.
That's what I was going to do. I was going to give a
You want
stern
to
lecture.
tell us about our culture now, since you got told about yours?
I was going to give a stern lecture about the finer points of white culture. I was definitely going to do that. But I'll refrain because I don't want to be called a racist, though.
Snowman, you look different, bro. I did not recognize you without the
beard's
the beard.
gone.
Yeah,
Yeah, beard's different.
Cut it down, man. I look, as you can see, when I cut it down, it all turned white too. So I just got a little bit of red left. So I'm getting older. I'm pushing 50.
Hey man,
might as
what do you
well
think I'm
accept
hiding under this? What do you think I'm hiding under this hat?
Nothing.
Correct.
Did you get a haircut, Flo?
No, I just shaved,
Wow.
but I still have my luxurious, insane hair.
Your was it
Frazzled
Earl,
state.
Oh, is that still
Yeah.
there? Yeah.
frazzled state.
No, I figured I would just go ahead and accept that I'm getting old instead of trying to stay young. I mean,
That's fair.
You're
It
about
comes with-
20 years behind, bro. You've been getting old.
Money talks. Margay wants to change his name back.
Why was it starting to challenge
Definitely-
were you uncomfortable with your sexuality?
Hold on, Destiny. We don't need to hear this. I'm changing my name back, Destiny.
That doesn't bother me
free?
nearly as
That's
I would
fine.
like
Marte, do you want to change yours back on your because you had all your stuff in there?
But the
I don't
gayer,
wanna-
the
I don't wanna-
picture is gayer than the name, though. Why did you change the name and not
I'm
the
a pro
profile picture?
athlete. What are you talking about? What are you? A pro-
Okay. And Harry Ludwig completing the goal on
I'm
our
pro
side.
dad
Shout out
bod,
to
baby.
you.
I'm a
Dad
pro.
bods aren't-
I'm a pro pot smoker.
Dad bod for the fucking win.
All right,
and-
back to the topic.
Yeah, did you notice that when Ryan came up though, and he started giving you those stats on Ketanji Brown Jackson, he never addressed the whole light sentences on pedophiles thing. Because in my opinion, out of everything, you know what, we could table the whole she didn't want to give a answer to what a woman was because she was trying to stay politically correct or whatever. But the fact that she completely skirted over when she was addressed about the whole child predator thing, and she didn't want to give direct answers. That right there, to me, I mean, that's a disqualifier in and of itself. If you can't put our kids first and you're going to give light sentences, and specifically there was one case where it was a repeat offender that she let out twice. And she couldn't give an answer for it. Why didn't Ryan want to address that? You know, I mean, that right there in and of itself. If you're really progressive and you claim to be for kids, that should be a disqualifier in and of itself. That your Supreme Court justice wanted to let child predators out of jail early.
You know how
I don't really believe
right?
that. I don't really believe that this is an actual standard on the right, considering that Brett Kavanaugh had credible allegations of sexual assault.
No, he did.
Credible, my ass.
And
No,
he
he
did,
how many years
he,
after?
he got confirmed for it.
There's only
I don't believe that.
side.
I don't believe
Hold on,
especially considering
gentlemen. One at a time, please. I
Especially
can't hear anything.
especially considering that the right has decided that they don't care about the Epstein files and they don't care about pedophiles.
That is
in their
wild.
government. I don't believe that the right actually cares about like this stuff. So I don't. I think
I'm not going to disagree. I'm not going to disagree that the right isn't just as culpable in this. All I'm stating, I don't care if she's right or left. The fact still remains she was letting deviants out of prison, and she shouldn't be sitting in a Supreme Court justice seat. Period.
Do you think it's the right, or do you think it's Trump? Because Trump's, even though he's claiming right now, let's not forget that he is not right from the beginning.
It's
I find it
a problem. It's a problem across the board.
I find it hilarious whenever anybody on the left starts giving moral lectures.
Really?
Why would that be?
Absolutely.
Now, why would that be?
Why would that be though?
Because you guys are fundamentally immoral.
Exactly. Like what? Like
how so?
Was that a legitimate question? Or was, like,
Yeah, no, for real. Like,
Yeah,
you
no,
know,
And I'm
How
kind of
so?
like not particularly right. Any
Prime example.
well, that is
Yeah.
hold on. Any political agenda that is grounded in theft, which is what leftist redistribution is fundamentally immoral in my mind.
right. I mean, just look at
Wait,
the
wait, are
reaction.
you just
George,
talking
hold
about-
on.
Are you
George
just
Floyd.
talking about
George
talking
Floyd
about
gets
taxes?
George Floyd gets murdered, and the whole country gets burnt down.
Are you talking about
Charlie
taxes,
Kirk
Dustin?
gets murdered, and half the country goes to church.
I'm-
That's your fundamental difference
I'm-
right there.
I'm trying to talk.
Ray Hobbs dies and nobody calls him an old school racist.
That was a truth bomb.
Are you,
What's
are you
that?
talking
I
about?
didn't,
That
hold on,
was-
I
that
didn't,
was
I didn't
retarded.
hear Fatty.
Yeah,
Roy Hobbs, man, the natural.
I was trying to address Dusty's point and
Which one?
the one about theft.
Oh, yeah, economic redistribution. The lefts are
Are you talking? Are you referring to taxes specifically?
Yes.
So you think taxes are theft?
Absolutely.
There are certain ones, yes.
Is it a voluntary transaction or a coercive
no.
one? What is a coercive transaction? Theft.
If you It's taxes.
I
It's-
understand.
it's
It's
a
got
subs-
I know it's a nicer name, but it's referring to the same behavior. If I decide, if me and my neighbor, if I decide to start taxing my neighbors and telling them what services they're going to buy from me, it's racketeering.
Why do y'all say it's taxes like that's supposed to
it is
be?
taxes.
You do realize that taxes were supposed to be temporary. You do realize we had an entire revolutionary war because of taxes.
Over 3%,
No,
mind you.
it's
just
not.
3%.
It wasn't about them being temporary. They wanted taxation with representation.
Oh, it's supposed to be temporary. He's right about
Income taxes were temporary, supposed to be only during World War II and only for the very rich. All tax proposals, new taxes have every time been, it's only going to affect, choose a different group, right? Not the majority.
Yeah, and if our representation is temporary, that would assume that anything they're implementing would be temporary.
No, I mean that's dumb. It literally was sold as a temporary thing because it's World War II.
I mean,
Right,
it
if
can
you recall,
change.
what was it back after World War II that when
I
they
just-
were doing the news in the theater, that's how people got suckered into believing it was a thing. They said, pay your income tax. It's the patriotic thing to do. They actually kind of suckered people into it with these kind
And
of
people are still getting suckered by the
Uncle
same
Sam
exact-
ads and stuff like that.
All you
Evan,
fuckers-
Evan would like to make his exit. I'd like to give him the floor. So
Then
he
get
can
the
say
fuck out
goodbye.
of here.
Shut up.
I'll just say it seems like with every single like conquest of like a major society, like only this is like a more cultural and more soft sort of thing. The people of that society put in their own, and it's typically a form of like supremacy. Like when the Mongols conquered China, they didn't put the Chinese in charge; they put their fellow Mongols in, like their Turkish subordinates. But in this case, since all these people go to like the same universities and they're trying to push the same messaging to go in, try to put their own ideals of the world down on the U.S., they are trying to shift things to go and make it sure that their own people go and do it. And I would say that's what like the whole woke thing is just finding a way to go and hide that fact while trying to make it seem noble. Like, because they know if you empower someone and if you empower someone, they are more likely to be loyal to you because you gave them everything. So I'd say that kind of like the case with like a lot of the ideologies of like that particular brand of leftism, and about like the case earlier about the noticing concept of those
Long-ass
who.
flight.
Sorry.
I thought you were talking about Charlie Kirk, bro. I'm sorry.
No. Yeah. Anyway, it was good to hear you, and sorry for kicking so many people, but you deserve the money, Sarah. Have a good night.
Aw, thank you.
Yeah, apologize for that shit.
Good night, Evan. Like Evan, good guy. Means well.
He is a good guy.
Fair enough. Let's see. Do some diff. When I was popping and b-boying in 1983 to 1985, we didn't know anything like that about Bombada.
Yeah, there were a lot of things that were kept secret back then, man. That, I mean, how long did it take for everybody to realize that what's his name?
Diddy.
Not
Diddy. Oh, yeah, you bring up Diddy. That's all you got to do.
I'm talking about like Judas Priest. How long did it take for him to figure out Judas Priest was gay? He was big into the heavy metal scene, and a lot of people didn't realize and didn't want to accept it when it came out.
Yeah, well, I think this may not, when it comes to Gen X, this may not even be specific to Black people, because if this wasn't the case, why is there such thing as the closet?
Dude,
why is there such
we grew up
term
playing.
as-
We grew up playing Smear the Queer, for crying out loud.
Yeah, so like,
like
there was a thing where it's like
there?
it just wasn't mainstream. Like, people were gay, but that wasn't always broadcast. So,
I miss the F slur sometimes.
Yeah, there used to be. It used to be that people kept their sexual deviance in the bedroom where it belonged instead of wearing it on their sleeve.
Yeah, it wasn't anybody's business, So
Well, yeah,
More
that's
for you to
another
do that,
thing
man.
that I question too is why are we bringing bedroom talk out to the forefront in terms of people and what they do and who they attract to and who they want to fuck. Like, why do I want to know about that out in the open? That's something you do behind closed doors. That's where it should stay. Beersford Greenville said Sarah needs an in-house masseuse. She's a good lady. Yes, a lot of things would be a lot more comforting and easier to tolerate if I had an in-house masseuse. And of course, Dusty wanted to change his own name, allegedly.
All right, bro. You want to go to war? We could do this.
Is this gonna be a name war all night?
Sarah's just gonna get paid off of this.
We were talking about.
Is that
dad
true,
bods
Marte?
earlier.
What are you
You guys
talking
were
about?
talking about dad bods earlier. I just wanted to say it's not a dad bod; it's a father figure.
We have to go. I still got man boobs.
That's
See,
racist.
that's a good dad joke right there.
But when it comes to what you were talking about, Sarah, as far as bringing the bedroom out into the public, I honestly, personally, just think that it's mostly because that's the only personality a lot of these mentally ill people have. It's the only thing they have to talk about or anything that they actually care about. And that's why it's becoming so prevalent. And it's also being allowed.
Well, it's going back to what I was saying earlier about wokeness. It's
Right.
one of the traits that I notice about people that proclaim to be woke. It has nothing to do with activism, like actual activism, as much as it's like, okay, this thing that I'm doing is what makes me special. This is what makes me special.
Let
Like,
me ask you this about woke. Okay.
Isn't it also possible that maybe people are reacting to like being told that they're not allowed to be gay for years and years, or being told that it's shameful to be gay, being shamed for being gay? Sarah just sat up here and talked about how she's attracted to dad bods, and then she, in the same breath, without even realizing, she goes on to talk about how people. I don't want to hear what people are attracted to, and everyone's nodding along, like, yeah, like I mean, you're doing exactly
Like, we
what
don't
you're
wanna
doing.
know
attracted to dad bods?
well, here's the thing, Ryan. Nobody said
somebody
that.
does.
Nobody said that gay people being shunned and told that they shouldn't be gay. No one said that never happened.
I'm also
No, but
not
it's still
demanding. I'm also not demanding anybody accept my attraction to dad bods or change policies because of it or anything out of the such. I'm not making demands of anybody else just because I think dad bods can be attractive.
But if
What if they were trying to? What if they were trying to make it illegal for you to marry someone with a dad bod? What, you're acting like it's a crazy. What if they were? I'll ask it again because maybe you didn't hear
Can
me.
we still
What if they were
fuck?
trying to make it? What if they were trying to make it illegal for you to marry someone with a dad bod?
Well, I guess a lot more men are going to be incentivized to get in shape now, aren't they?
There's 8 billion people on Earth, and there's always somebody crazy trying to do something.
Okay, you guys obviously aren't engaging with the question. Whatever, I'm being pushed back. And
Well,
obviously,
I am
it's a very
engaging
simple
with
question.
the question.
It's very
You can't
obvious
hear
what the
anybody
analogy is.
else.
You guys are just not engaging
Look, I
because
got a
you
sound interface.
understand
We
what
can play
the point,
game
right?
game if you want to play the game.
I always go with involuntary.
Like it's very clear what the analogy is. Like there is very real possibility that gay marriage could get overturned, and we're talking about real policies.
Fuck it.
We're talking about
Get
real
rid of
policies that affect people's lives. This guy,
Get rid of
this fucking this fat loser over here is talking about smearing queers. Like this is a real world that we are going to live in, right? And you guys don't give a shit about it. And you guys you come on here and complain about wokeness or whatever. But this is the world that you guys are pushing for. You are pushing for an anti-woke world that actually has real.
You realize you're the
And
only
you don't give a shit. You think it's all a big fucking meme.
Ryan, you realize you're the only person
talking
getting
about-
angry, and the way you're acting is indicative of the people of your side. You guys always get angry and violent.
We are angry.
over
We're
the
angry
top.
that fat old
Yeah,
losers
well,
like you want to
know what?
smear queers. Yes, we're angry at you. And if you try to smear queers,
We're angry that losers like you want to shoot dads right in front of their
fat old
kids.
man,
Queers,
fat old fuck, you fat old fuck, you try to smear people, we're gonna fucking smear you, bitch.
Dads right in the neck in front of them, Ryan.
all right.
And then sit and say how it's a great thing. We're angry
Ryan.
about that. And it's
Yeah,
gonna
if you
stop.
want to smear gay people, we're gonna smear you first. All right.
From what
So-
I
Ryan,
understand,
Ryan,
you can marry
you got the-
any
hold on, everybody
grown
shut
person
up,
you want.
please.
Okay.
Ryan, you got the boot. I'm going to put you
We
back
quit
again.
playing that
okay?
game in
Jesus
91,
Christ.
bro. We quit playing it in
Jesus Christ.
91.
Don't miss that.
This is
You
this
failed
is
to mention too that gay people existed way before they were even allowed to get married. I mean, it's
But
not
this-
like
but
we're
it's-
just erasing their entire existence or anything.
But
So
this,
No, I'm not here, Ryan. Just
this is interesting because he's talking about
Yeah, I heard it. I heard it, Dusty.
he's talking about gay marriage being overturned in a climate where most people don't even want to get married at all.
I would beg to differ.
So I think it's perfectly understandable
Well,
why
you
someone
wanna
would be
get married.
angry when
Kids
I
are
think it's
getting-
perfectly understandable that someone would be angry when an entire group of people, their rights are being threatened. I think that makes sense.
Congratulations,
happening?
Ryan, for taking the
And
brave
that is
lead.
happening. That's happening with gay people because of the whole,
How are their rights
them
being
floating
taken
the
when there's
idea
active
of-
legislation getting passed all the time just for them? Explain how rights
I'm
being
not
taken
fucking
when
dumb.
legislation is being passed.
Hold on. You're all talking at once,
Yep,
and
and I'm not done.
nobody's hearing
I never
anything
finished.
any of you are saying. Go ahead, Kay.
So,
Finish up.
yeah. So the right is floating the idea of making gay marriage illegal again, and the right has been attacking trans rights for God knows how long now, and all that the left or the woke want in terms of trans rights is just for trans people to have access to the health care they need to mitigate you're shaking. I see you're shaking your head, but this is the case. This is the case. I'm not done yet. All they want is for trans people to have access to the medical care that they need to reduce the rate of suicidality among trans people.
Castrating kids.
What?
Like castrating kids? Is that the healthcare
No.
you're talking about?
No, that is not. That is right wing propaganda bullshit. That's not what the left is trying to push.
It's not. That's bullshit because nobody is taking the right of a perfectly healthy adult to do whatever they want to their body away from them.
No.
The only rights that you guys are mad about us trying to take away is your right to castrate and to mutilate our children. That's the only right that you're worried about.
Not just about adults, Bub.
That's my point. You said the right is attacking trans rights, and I'm saying the left is attacking children's safety.
No, so when a child is trans, they have a high rate of suicidality.
Child?
Are
we really going to go down this road?
Hold on. It's a real thing.
No.
It actually happens. I know it's uncomfortable for you because you can't comprehend the fact that
uncomfortable.
gender can be different from
It's
sex.
so
But
wrong.
the grand thing
I
is
will
that it is
literally,
the case,
bro.
that this
you don't even
happens,
wanna know.
and it is the case.
Hold
that trans
on.
people- It is the case that
Hold on. Go ahead. Finish your thought, Kay,
Yeah.
and then I have to boot you to the
Okay,
back.
it is the case that trans kids, whether they're in their like early teens, generally, when they're trans and they don't get the care they deserve, which is generally just gender affirming care, they have high suicidality rates. Like this is just the truth of the matter. And if you don't care about that, or you don't want to do anything to help these people not kill themselves, then I think that's a pretty bad thing, and it makes me angry.
Hold on, Flo.
And it
please
makes
let us
Brian
finish.
angry, and it makes other people angry, and it makes sense that
You
it
know
makes
you're
angry.
angry, fat boy. Why haven't suicide rates gone down as trans have become more accepted?
Exactly.
They haven't become accepted.
What
This
are
is the
you
whole
talking about?
This is the whole point. They haven't.
Dude, the
become
whole
accepted.
trans movement is forced on everybody.
so-
How is it not being forced to be accepted?
So what I can't figure out,
Right is in power
why-
right now,
why
and they
are
are
we-
and
why-
they are
why are
actively
we as a
attacking their rights.
society-
When's the last time you
why-
seen one?
Okay, Kay,
Why
I'm
are
going to
we-
put you back.
When's the last time you talked to one?
Why are we as a society?
Just the other day at my wife's work.
What up?
Hold on. Why are we as a
Look at the
society?
dome. Wow.
Are they
making-
everywhere? Right?
Why are we as a society making huge decisions about something before we even know that it's a thing?
What decision?
Because somebody's
Sexualizing any person, human being under the age of 18. Why are you sexualizing any human being under the age of 18? Why are you sexualizing children? Why?
Who are you arguing? Who are you contending with, Brick?
Why are you sexualizing anyone under the age of 18? That is not only wrong, but it's illegal. Do not sexualize anyone under 18. You sorry person. Oh my God.
Hold on. One at a time. Go ahead, Angry.
I want to point something
Here's a
out.
perfect
Hold
example.
on, Clay. Go ahead, listen. Hold on. Sorry. Let me just. Everyone be aware that Angry Man is the feature of the evening. When he talks, you guys shut up just the same. Okay, this is his night, his claim, his stuff to defend, and we're going to give him all the space to do it because it's him against the world. Go ahead, Angry.
So here's a perfect, now that Nev is up here, here's a perfect example. Here's a perfect example of what I'm talking about, right? Now, when it comes to when it comes to people that belong to certain communities, right? It's not about y'all just having rights. Y'all now have more privilege than everybody else to a certain degree. And one example is an interaction that happened on a panel, and Nev was on the panel, right? And I was on the panel. So this is what happened. Nev was on the panel. Somebody misgendered Nev, right? And the host, this has been a while ago. You probably don't remember it. The host of the panel, it was Fight Club. The host of the panel said, hey, man, let's be respectful, not misgender anybody, right? And everybody's like, cool. Right after that, somebody called me a Mexican and everybody laughed their asses off. And I'm like, bro, I'm not Mexican. Why is it cool for you to call me something that I'm not? Not that there's anything wrong being Mexican, but why is it cool for everybody to laugh at? I'm noticing that if you're a straight heterosexual person, it's cool to come at us crazy and call us everything and say whatever you want to say. But if you're trans or you're homosexual, it's like everybody has to tiptoe around them. That is not a real society. And in my opinion, if people from intersectional groups ever want to be fully accepted into a society, you have to catch the smoke just as much as everybody else catches the smoke. That's being normal.
Totally all true. Angry Man, what is your definition of woke?
What's my definition of woke?
Yeah, can you give it? Wait, before you answer, can you give us like a general term that we can all operate on, one that we don't need to have like
anybody
some unique Black experience to understand? Can you give us a general sense?
Anybody. My definition of woke is anybody that believes in all of the new age progressive concepts that go against traditionalism, and you have something against people who want to be traditional. That's my definition.
So that's still pretty nebulous. I mean, could you give us something more specific? I know that you stopped on trans ideology. It seems like a reactionary.
Well, no, I didn't stay.
But do you have anything else that you'd want to like?
No, I didn't really want to stay on that topic. We stayed on that topic because Ryan kept going into the thing about what a woman is, right?
The tiny brown.
Yeah, I wanted to talk more about just the total concept of wokeism, because it's not just gay people or trans people that are woke. There are straight people that are woke. You know what I'm saying?
Trophies.
Is there any other conclusions from that sort of mindset that you'd like to like sink your teeth into or like provide some criticisms for? Because to this point, your definition of woke, again, I guess you're saying more traditionalism, less progressivism, and the things that attack that traditionalism, but you're still not giving us any sort of like concept or anything. You're making broad strokes, and we've only really kind of fine-tuned on like the gender ideology one. So what else?
Okay, so in a nutshell, it shouldn't be wrong for me as a person to be a straight male, to believe in the nuclear family, and to believe in traditional ways and practices, right? However, when it comes to this day and age, I'm treated as if I'm wrong for my existence. If I go into ChatGPT right now and I type traditional into it, it tells me traditional is a bad word. Literally, it tells me traditional is a trigger word. It tells me traditional, patriarch, anything that has to do with anything masculine, manly, or whatever is considered trigger words and considered offensive to people.
Well, I just did that, and ChatGPT doesn't say that at all. But I think I understand that what you're probably meaning to say is that traditional is largely a subjective term. And in the context of the American experiment, we could probably like figure out what you mean when you say traditionalism, but I don't know still. Like, I still don't know anything more about your position here. It's still very nebulous.
I got one for you.
I think that what he's trying to say is, like earlier he said that woke used to mean like more so the conscious community type of people, or
I remember
what people used to be considered as conspiratorial. That used to be considered woke. You know, people that look beyond, you know, what we were given in the mainstream media, maybe delved a little deeper to find out the underlying, you know, factors of what happened or the conspiratorial level. Now today, what woke has become is if you believe in anything that it is, like he was saying, that's, you know, nuclear family, traditional values, anything like that. If you believe in anything that, you know, what we consider the, you know, normal society in America, that's considered, you know, anti-progressive or, you know, anti-liberal or anti-American now, even for that matter. You know, you got woke means you got to bend to everyone else's will.
Okay, the last thing I'm going to say is the reason I made such a conceited effort to try and get a definition of woke from Angry Man or for whomever else is because it seems to, from my perspective, that woke is this like nebulous monolith thing that you can just throw shit at when you have a criticism or a critique about the world. And it generally comes across as like lacking in compassion, even though I know a lot of people have like realistic critiques. Like there are things of like along the lines of like the bigotry of low expectations, like things like those emerge from progressivism and from wokeism that I think are real criticisms. But a lot of the reactionary right, they don't even care to define it or to make real critiques. It's all progressive bad. And,
Well,
is it that it's nebulous, or is it that it's a spectrum by the people who are defining it?
Pardon me, everyone. Neve, I'm gonna send you back to the back. Trippy's gonna take your place.
Okay, this is what's really annoying about this. What's annoying is whenever someone is on the left, they act as if they don't understand what we're saying or that they don't get the concept. So let me be clear. This is what woke is. Woke is when Disney says, we don't want straight white males to be the lead in a movie.
There you go.
That's one. Okay. Woke is when they say we're going to have Rey be the hero of the trilogy, but she doesn't have to go through the hero's journey because she's a chick. She's just inherently good at everything. Even though we've watched all the other Jedis have to learn to be Jedi, she doesn't have to learn it because she's a woman. And women are inherently awesome and men are inherently bad. That's
if you would have made a whole movie about her training, you'd still be bitching about the movie about her training.
No, I wouldn't.
Oh, nobody would be
problem. No, I wouldn't, because we grew up with Sarah Connor. We grew up with Ripley. Yep. We didn't have no problem with them. When we watched Terminator 2 and Sarah Connor was kicking ass, we was cheering her on.
Yeah, and when they came back with that other movie, right, where she was old and she was just like blowing shit up, we were like, "What is this? What is this? Why is she 70 years old and falling out of helicopters and surviving?"
Here's the other
literally
thing.
watched her train herself up to who she was from.
Yeah, we watched it. We watched her progression. She went through the hero's journey, right? We don't have a problem with women being heroes. We have a problem with them not having no type of earning it. Like,
and she started out as a victim,
right?
Earning it, right?
I'm going to go ahead and let Marte make his exit. If we could give him the floor, please, for his final thoughts.
I know Angry Man is the man of the hour. What's up, man? Good to see you again. Also, I just came back to fight Ryan every chance I get. Anytime I see him on the panel, I'm always going to be combative with him and Dusty over here, too.
Did you hear he
So,
came out?
Look forward to seeing you guys. So, you know what? I'm wrecking you in the next debate. So, I mean,
okay. Oh, we heard that last debate.
Yeah, bend him over and wreck that ass.
I have that every time I see you, Marte.
Never happen. Anyways,
Destiny, I say hi.
The woke ideology is a delusion pushed by the left to obfuscate this is feminism, which is the biggest shit test in America right now. We're seeing this as we speak. It's moved from goalpost to goalpost, from black community over now to liberal white community, in women especially. So we're seeing this. They're double dipping as women, as feminists, and also as liberal women. So this is really horrid. So anyways, I bid you guys adieu.
Yeah.
Thank you,
and I'm not gonna appreciate you, bro. I'm not gonna leave it just to movies and stuff. Woke is also changing the language of words that we use. Like, instead of saying homeless, let's say unhoused, right? And it's like you're more concerned about the verbiage than you are the actual situation. Like,
birthing person.
It's basically birthing person and like it. Whenever you change the language, you literally change the culture, right?
Well, you also changed the value of those words and the meaning behind them. Amy says, Ryan, I know how you feel. I've been shamed and oppressed for the past 15 years for being a Christian in most open places. That's a very good point, actually.
That is a retarded point. It's still the
Christians are consistently made fun of across the board, and they've just been having to deal with it.
It's the biggest religion on earth. You guys are fine.
Well,
Biggest
look,
religion on earth
what
next
Angry Man's
to-
saying, another example of woke is like what happened today at the cross country meet. My son comes running down. My wife screams, "Pick it up, boy! Pick it up! You're halfway in the pack. You're halfway through the race, and you're in the middle of the pack. Pick it up!" And three angry, progressive, rainbow fucking umbrella having, patchouli smelling weirdos spun around and gave my wife a dirty look because she called him a boy.
Is she okay?
That's woke. That's woke.
Is she okay though?
That is woke.
Yeah, she's okay.
Like the fact that we're sitting here talking about wokeness, and then you have people who obviously are on the left or close to the left that are woke. Like, well, I don't understand what you mean. You know exactly what I mean. Like, you know exactly what I mean when I say woke. Woke is the fact that if you get into an argument with me and you're on the left, you can call me whatever you want to call me and go all the way in. And I'm probably going to be like, word, that's how you feel. But I'm not going to lose my mind over it. Meanwhile, if I go in on you and start saying certain things, you're going to lose your shit. You're going to snap out. And you're allowed to do that. Like, you're allowed to take it to that level, even if you have to take it to a violent level.
So I kind of want to point something out, that the people who are so worried about definitions are always going to be worried about these definitions because it's a debate tactic, first of all, but also they're never going to change their ways. So while we know that they're going to stay woke, maybe a good way to take this is, what is the cure to woke? What is the way that we're going to be able to smash woke?
Logic.
An internal locus of control. And
how does that play out in the real world on a mass scale?
It's an individual thing. It's not I don't know about that.
Dude, I just try to
make
enforce
shaming
people.
now. Make shaming great again. We got rid of shaming. We got rid of
That was what Angry Man was saying earlier, man. We need to bring shame back to culture. You know,
That
it's
is
like
the
the most
most woke
everybody's
tactic
pretty movement. You know,
You think
Tootie Bug comes in with a big 5, says, "Keep your satanic hands off our children." And
You keep
Bishop
your Christian ones
asks,
off too.
Bishop asks you, Angry Man, is this a woke panel? Are we woke?
Nah, this is not. This is like, it's
Hell
like,
nah.
it's like a couple woke people. But let me not say that, because they'll get offended and say, I'm not woke. Like, you know.
Ha says,
I'm
I actually
traditionally
don't know
woke.
what you mean by woke.
kids should not be given GA care because the only long-term study shows that 80 to 90% of kids with confusion will grow out of it if left the fuck alone.
Gender affirming care. I grew out of thinking I was Batman, damn it. Now I'm the Joker.
That's sad.
Yeah, I didn't grow out of that.
Me neither.
Colby says, kick a panel sitter. Let's hear effigy. Flo, which person is the panel sitter of the evening? You're pretty good with this.
Maddie. I mean, I hate to. He's also the most woke, though, so it feels.
Let me go in on second place trophies then. Because I can defend second place.
I wanted to actually give a concrete definition of woke. It's actually pretty simple. It's quite literally any far leftist ideology that pushes against anything traditionalism or anything on the right. Really, it's basically just a subsect of intersectional politics and social engineering that tankies used to do. It's literally all it comes from. It comes from feminism. All of it is leftist back.
You could
all
probably work
stuff.
the kinks out of this definition.
I thought it was all pejorative that you
far
guys use to
leftist,
dump literally
far less-
everything you can in. That's all it is. It means nothing. There's no actual definition.
down.
You right wingers have taken that word and just thrown
No, it
like a
literally
fucking dump
is-
truck,
it
thrown
is
everything
literally
into it. You're just
intersectional
bitching about
politics that
people
are
on the
far
left.
Guys, you're
That's all you're
agreeing.
doing.
No,
If it's
it's
not
not
meaning,
on the-
why
I
the
said
hell does it
specifically
Seems like
far
black
left.
supremacy when Marcus
One-
Garvey
I
was
literally said
referring
far
it,
left. How is that
actually.
everyone on the
Effigy-
left? Not everyone is far left.
Vapor said everything that is not
They
on the
call
right,
everything
and
on the
Vapor
left.
said
No, I
everything that
didn't
you
say
don't
that.
agree with.
That word
You
never
guys are
came out of my
agreeing.
mouth. Those words never came out of my mouth. I said far left. I said far left. far left ideology that promotes intersectionality and other far left things. It also
that a
included
crew neck
with
t-shirt?
socialism.
Used to be.
How the fuck did you do that?
God,
He washed
I
it
wish
and it
people would
didn't
look up
dry
meanings
properly.
of words before they use them. People are saying shit like intersectional. You all have intersectionality.
Look
All
here,
intersectionality
G, all right.
is how
Plymouth
your
Rock-
identity.
We didn't land on Plymouth Rock,
all it
G.
is. Do you have a
Plymouth
religion? Are
Rock
you
landed
Christian?
on us.
Do you have a race? How do
Doesn't mean
those
my
two things
ideology
interact
falls
in
into
your
Hold on.
your
There's all of
existence?
you are talking, and I can't hear any single bit of it. One at a time, please. And if I keep having to say it, I'm just going to throw you backstage and bring up someone who will respect my rules. Effigy, you were saying something.
Yeah, I'll just repeat really quick. Everyone has intersectionality. All intersectionality is how do your identities intersect in your being? Do you have a race? Do you have a religion? How do those things overlap? That's all it is. Everybody's got that. All it is the study of those things in people. You keep making
What
it
is
some
the
kind of weird
utility
fucking
of it?
thing because you've never actually looked up the definition of it.
What's
It's
the utility?
sociology, how people exist in the world, how
Hold on.
groups think.
Here's what the
Their
difference
ideas
is.
are.
Here's what the difference is. The difference is for someone like myself that you would consider on the right, I'm not going to make every decision based off of intersectionality. But what's happening on the left is you have people making decisions primarily off of those identifying factors.
Lots of people on the right do that too, though. MAGA.
Yeah, but
Yeah. Show me a person on the
There is
right that
such a
doesn't
thing
make
as the
decisions
woke
based on
right
their
now.
Christianity.
Look, I think the people that we identify the most as the woke are the ones that are going, because I'm black, I feel this way. Because I'm gay, I feel that way. Because I'm trans, and that they identify themselves most likely with their sex, race,
Because I'm Christian.
fucking gender, religion, exactly. And that's the first thing they usually introduce themselves with. And then they tell you about how they're woke without ever saying the word woke. Just like we're
Not all
based.
Democrats are black.
See what I'm
and gay,
saying?
though.
It's still a sides thing. It's like we're based, they're woke. Woke sounds stupid. Base sounds pretty stupid. I think we should start being human, but whatever.
Beast. Tootie
I'm
Bug
just
says
talking.
house challenged. What does that mean?
Oh no, but
I don't
it's
know.
right.
To define wokeness.
Sounds like a cards thing.
Trippy, if
Maybe.
everyone was treated like humans, they wouldn't need to ask for fucking rights, would they?
No, and people wouldn't be celebrating a certain CK's death, you know?
Eclipse says woke, a pseudo intellectual pastiche
Prestige, yeah.
of postmodern and neo-Marxist tropes dedicated to the idea that categories themselves do nothing but privilege and oppress.
I feel
like
like
that.
pastiche is a woke word to use. This definition is woke.
Yeah, Eclipse is still cool enough to give that to us for $10. That's nice.
I'll take it. Trib1 says, can wokeness come from the right? The feeling, not the term, I mean. For example, Pam wanting to go after people for hate speech.
Yeah.
How is that not woke?
So
That
I
sounds
I
so
have a
woke, and I
definition
hate the
that can
fact.
apply to both the left and the right. It's
I hate
anybody
that
who
she
is
chose that wording, though. That's all I was going to say. Sorry.
it's anybody who is lying, obfuscating the information, or violently ignorant to push their own political agenda.
Anybody celebrating Jimmy Kimmel getting fired is woke as fuck.
He
The
earned
woke
it, though.
right
I mean,
exists.
I mean, he's not
It's a
funny.
thing now.
The show sucks
Yeah,
too, so.
He should have been
agree.
fired
Yeah, I
a long
think-
ass time ago.
Yeah, I
he
was gonna
should.
say his numbers were already dropping anyways, so
Right.
it was like, is
It's
it worth
expected.
it? Maybe, yeah.
Right.
I'm
No,
comedy
he's
man.
gonna
I'm
get
comedy
They
man
just-
for shit
they
after
just
he
use it
left
as
the
an
man
excuse to
show.
push it up.
Come on.
I'm celebrating
I like
him
Dustin
being.
Hey,
I'm celebrating
Go
him
ahead.
being fired, but not because I'm woke, but because he's one of the guys that ruined late night television.
That's right.
That's a fact.
That's fair
Angry
enough.
Man. Do you remember when he used to dress up as Carl Malone? And he'd be like, I'm Carl Malone. And he'd say the dumbest
dude.
shit.
Man,
I
show.
used to watch. Hey, I used
I
to
like
watch
chicken wings.
the Man Show.
Yeah.
I used to watch that show,
Me
and
too.
to watch
So
him,
wild.
look, to
Pretty
watch
often.
him transform into this thing that he's become.
Crying all the
Him
time.
and Kevin Smith, but that's a whole nother. I don't want to go into
They
that.
both
but,
cry all the
Kevin
time.
Smith disappoints me.
oh, bruh, disappointment is an understatement. But
He
this
crying.
whole thing, that's another reason why I don't like wokeness, because of the transformation of people that I actually watched and in some cases looked up to in the 90s, and they've transformed into these panty waists that run around constantly crying about bullshit that's irrelevant.
That's a good thing you bring up there, Angry Man. Remember when
You
Ryan
guys
said
were all
that
just
it was
crying about how people were
Get-
saying straight people are bad. You
Can I
guys
get just
were
a
just
second?
crying this whole night about it.
You said what?
I said you guys were all just crying a little while ago about how the people on the other side were saying, "Oh, straight traditional people are bad." I thought you guys were the guy who didn't give a fuck about that.
Bro,
Y'all didn't give a fuck about calling names.
Hold on,
or
let me
anything like
address them, bro. All you do is cry when you come up here with your unironic icon, bro. Like you come up here and you whine and you complain about people whining and complaining. It's the goofiest shit in the world, but you think you're morally superior or intellectually superior because you come up here and try to point out everybody's flaws in their logic and shit. And it's so cliche and boring and pedestrian, bro.
I got a flaw in some logic to bring up. You know, Ryan said earlier that
just said like what we all do on this.
Hey,
panel.
Scooby Dooby. But yeah,
Absolutely.
Ryan was saying earlier that people, go to the right side because it makes them more money. Why is Jimmy Fallon so fucking woke all of a sudden? It was to make money, right? It was the cheat fucking code. As Ryan said, we were doing the cheat code. I don't make a fucking dime being not woke.
I mean,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
different classes.
Speaking of money, Bishop
I will
sends
pull
in
your
5
ponytail.
to say my fault. Chuck in Tennessee
Fuck
says,
you,
Sarah, new idea. Everyone talk at once. Yeah, I might actually just let it rip for 2 minutes and give you guys a moment. Long
Dude,
Live
you
Liberty
farted.
is requesting the horse video, and I will so politely
What is a
oblige.
woman?
This message is sponsored in part by.
There you go.
She's got great
JB,
genes.
JB says, woke, the idea that groups with fewer resources, social and economic, only have less because they have been systematically oppressed, and that forced redistribution from the majority is justified on that basis. And you were actually speaking to this earlier in the beginning, Angry Man, about people make themselves their own like victims.
Yeah, it's basically Marxism, what she's describing right there. Marxism, socialism, communism, that same crap. Oh, we have less because we're marginalized, so we need everybody to redistribute everything, as if everything isn't going to rise back to the top anyway. Like, it's the goofiest shit in the world.
Yeah,
It's just a justification mechanism to steal other people's shit.
I agree. Like you have that, I want it, but I don't want to earn it. So therefore, I'm going to make you just give it
Yep.
to me because you should feel bad. Trib says Flo's choice for who to boot, or Sarah's choice if she's feeling frisky. Do we think it's okay what the chairman of the FCC said? Do y'all think it's overstepping their place in media by threatening companies? Number one, Flo, pick 2 to boot, please.
Oh, 2 to boot.
I'm going to be taking
I'm
off
sorry,
here.
1 to boot. I'm sorry, say it
Okay.
again.
Well, then I don't choose you. Crew neck.
Crew neck. All right. Vapor to the back.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm actually jealous of Effigy's icon. The fact that it's animated and shit.
Stop backpedaling. It was funny.
It's just a GIF. I'm just playing. I don't know if that's what it is.
And then anybody have any remarks on what the chairman of the FCC
Yeah.
said?
Crazy overstep. His job is to enforce rules on the books, not to make personal commentary about like the whole thing's fucking crazy. I'll probably end up doing a stream about it.
Are you going to start it by going, well, the FCC won't let me be or let me be me, so let me see.
I might
try to
now.
put it on MTV, but it
So
feels
what?
so
I'm sorry. What? I'm live under a rock. What did the FCC chairman say?
I don't want to paraphrase it off.
Basically said you do something about Kimmel or we're going to do something about it.
Yeah,
He
he
basically
threatened
threatened ABC.
the broadcasters hosting Kimmel, and so
What?
that's why Kimmel's. Yeah,
They threaten their license.
Maybe
I
he
did
was
not-
just
But
tired
this
of
is what happens when you allow. This is what happens when you allow it to get this far, to go
The
this
pendulum is
far.
just
Like,
swinging at this point.
No,
you said what?
I said the pendulum is
I was
just
quoted
swinging at
as
this
saying
point.
against this.
I mean, when you
Guy is
have
quoted as saying he would never do this like a year ago.
yeah, but then he just did it.
I know.
Okay, but here's the thing: for everybody that's crying, for everybody that's upset about Jimmy Kimmel and saying this is overreach, where were you guys when they kicked Roseanne off her own damn show?
I know, right?
I don't know. That's whataboutism though. Like, Wasn't aware of it at the time.
Not really.
But I'm aware of this.
They must have been hiding in the.
So the government didn't.
But again,
threaten
I
him,
mean,
though.
well, let's be realistic though. If you're a celebrity or an actor or somebody that is the face of something, right, and you represent a particular like ABC network, Fox, Disney, whatever TV show, yada yada yada, like if you represent them by being on their screen, they have the right to choose to say, "Hey, we don't want to be represented by whatever you say."
If you have a government regulatory agency telling a private company which employees to fire or not, that is fascism because that's a merger of state and corporate
Yes,
interests.
I do agree with that.
Mhm.
Unless there's some kind of, well, I don't know.
Okay, but that's
Eclipse
fair.
says-
That's fair, but you can't. But you can't wait until the right is doing it to all of a sudden grab the torch.
I started as soon as I became aware of something like this. That's when I started.
Well, yeah,
Okay,
he did.
well,
He's
you
different,
may
though.
have done that. You may have done that, but there's a large portion of the country that completely ignored this when Biden first got elected, and they were coming after everyone. Like they went after
And they're
Facebook.
wrong. And they're in the wrong. They should apply it uniformly, like you're actually not doing right now, because you're justifying applying it ununiformly.
I am.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Hey man, get back
I'm
is a
gonna
mofo.
apply
That's
it.
all I'm saying. The
I'm
get
gonna
back is a
apply it.
mofo.
Eclipse says Destiny is very a pastiche in his salmon shirt. I like your shirt.
This is pink. What's wrong
Man,
with
only
that?
white
Very
people wear
pink.
salmon.
Salmon is a little bit more fleshy. Yeah.
And the Trib says Kimmel was the second most popular late night show host. TV in general is down. That's because we've got all of your attention over here on YouTube. You ain't watching TV because you got us. It's a right-wing lie to say he wasn't popular comparatively. He's basically the most popular for his position, facts over feels. That
Ew.
doesn't mean his numbers weren't declining though. And if
But
even
this was not a business decision. This was a
Right.
regulatory threat. So
It was
doesn't
a
matter
reaction.
what-
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what his numbers were doing at all.
yeah.
Are they getting
Should have been
government
done
money?
forever ago.
And Realistic Heart
Oh.
says, with a big hundo, hello, Realistic Heart. Welcome over to this side of town. When you take intersectionality to its logical extreme, it spirals into the individual. That's the paradox.
What?
Yeah.
I don't think
Wow.
people know
It's
what the fuck
how
they're
does
talking about when they talk about intersectionality.
collectivism is pretty leftist.
So, guys, I have a very important thing to say because I'm going to be taking off here in a minute, but just follow along. No interruptions, please. So, there's three soldiers
anyway, like we
in
were
the
saying-
middle of the
Telling
desert.
me to is he over here telling my panel
I'm
what
sorry.
to do?
There's
I'm
three
kidding,
soldiers in
I'm
the middle
kidding.
of the desert, and they're all on their last legs because they've been lost for 3 days straight. They're marching along, and off in the distance, they see a tree. They end up pulling out their binoculars, and they look closer, and there's bacon hanging off of the tree. And they're like, "Oh my God, it's a bacon tree. We're safe." So they start running for it, and then all of a sudden, they hear a gunshot, and one guy drops to the ground. They hear another gunshot, and the second guy drops to the ground. The last guy stops. He ducks down, looks at the bacon tree, and looks back at his friends and tells them, "I knew it wasn't a bacon tree. It was a ham bush."
That is so foul, dude.
That is
foul.
so
Wow,
bad.
what a way to make an egg.
He won the
today.
That was a dad joke extraordinaire.
Yes. Winning the night.
Like I think that we all have another kid on the way after that joke.
Oh my
Hope
goodness.
not.
That was such a dad joke. It got all of our women pregnant.
You know what?
Shut
You're
up.
probably right.
Why would you want to put that kind of bad juju on anybody, Flo?
Hey, it's okay. We don't all have to do the work now. We can just sit back
What
and
you guys
relax and
on
let
the
him
right? You
take
need
over.
to start breeding more so you can quit, shipping all the Browns over.
Dude, I'm a reformed Pookie. I got plenty of kids.
You are a reformed
Pookie.
poop, aren't you?
What the? I don't even.
What's a reform?
100%, sir.
Ah, never
100%.
Wait a minute.
But I'm the
You-
powdered
you can-
dusty man. Get out of here.
Wait a minute. You can reform Pookies?
Yeah, you can, man. You can. It just takes a lot of work.
And how
Yeah,
many
that's
years?
How many years?
I don't know, sir. I don't know how many
There's a
years.
double entendre.
Okay, but I personally don't feel bad for Jimmy Kimmel. I do see where this type of thing can be bad if taken to an extreme. But I'm sorry, guys like Jimmy Kimmel ruined late night television. I love.
I don't like Kimmel either. I'm not advocating for Kimmel. I'm advocating against the FCC chairman.
It's not about Kimmel.
Kimmel was horrible.
The government did.
Himmler,
Who cares what we think about Jimmy Kimmel? He's a rich dude. He'll be fine. I don't care that he lost his job. I care how the job was lost. I care that the FCC chair stuck his fucking nose in there and fucking strong-armed a company to do something. Like, that's not cool. That
But
is
haven't
crazy
they been doing
all
that
the
with
times we talk about free speech? This was actually against free speech.
Hasn't the government been doing that with social media for the last 10
What
years?
aboutism? That's what aboutism. No,
I need to know for sure.
No, I'm
reason.
saying we've been dealing with restrictions and regulations just on
Okay.
social media platforms. I mean, we're the ones
Do
that
you like free speech or not? Do you agree with free speech or not? Yes or no?
I do. I
Yes.
agree with free
Then who
speech, but free speech also comes with consequences of free speech.
So, which would be less free speech. So you don't actually agree with free speech.
No, I'm saying you have freedom. You have freedom of
no.
speech. You don't have freedom from consequences of your speech, sir.
No, the government coming down on you is not a natural consequence of having free speech.
I understand that. I understand that, and I'm not saying that what the FCC did was right.
You need to shit or get off the pot, Snowman. Do you want free speech or not?
I told you, I agree with
we
free
want-
speech.
we
Free
want
speech
free
comes with
speech, but-
consequences.
Well,
We
that
want
doesn't
free
mean
speech, but free-
society. Well, and I'm not saying this is what happened to Jimmy Kimmel, but we're not saying that society can't come and disapprove
Why are you
of
making
what
the argument?
of what you say. I'm
Why are
not
you
making
making
the argument.
You're making a point. You're beating up a straw man over here. That's not
Well-
what happened to Kimmel, and you acknowledged that before you then started fighting the straw man.
Well, you're just asking, do you believe in free speech, right? That like.
Yes, which means that
because
the government
it's-
can't interfere with my speech. Not
Right.
not
Well,
rando
there's
dudes coming and
everybody
make
on
me
the
lose my
right.
job. The government can't get involved.
Are we even 100% sure that he lost his job as to what the FCC leader said, or did he lose his job because of multiple instances of him saying
we're
stupid
100%
shit on his show over the past
You're
10
not
fucking
100%
years?
sure because you haven't looked into it.
Okay, but this.
I can look
this
into
is
it in
the
a
problem-
minute and a half, man.
Problem with this.
Go look
this-
into it. Come back in a minute.
This is the problem with this. And you're going to say it's whataboutism, but I really don't give a shit. This is the problem with this. The problem with this is every single time there's an instant like this, right? We always expect the right to take the moral high road. We always expect the right to be the most patriotic. We always expect the right to be the standard. But then when it comes time for the left to be in charge, they do whatever the hell they want to do. And then we're trying to maintain a standard. If we're going to maintain a standard, we have to maintain it across the board. It can't just be.
I agree. It needs to be maintained across the board. I actually think that anybody who identifies too strongly with either the right or the left is retarded. That's basically everybody on Earth. You're all retarded. It's really the concern is the powers with the non-powers, right? Government versus people.
Mhm.
That's a bigger concern than right versus left. So
Absolutely.
Easy.
And
Look,
JB says leftists are offended by the right making basic distinctions. The right is offended by people being deceitful and ghoulish. We are
Uh-huh.
not the same.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Jimmy Kimmel
Please.
was released because of the
More
comments about
masturbation.
Turk. It didn't have
Wow.
anything to do with the
Jerk off in
FCC,
the
dude.
corner.
That was he got fired before the guy from the FCC said what he said on Fox, man. It didn't have
And
shit to do with what he said.
no, it's not on
Chuck
Fox.
says Chuck says Brick pick 4. However, he says 5 minutes each, but because there's a line backstage, it's not timed when there's a line, so they have to sit back there until they get traded back out or somebody leaves. So Brick pick 4.
We'll take the 3 in the bottom middle.
You're like, oh, I guess I could remove the names.
Sam Hyde, Effigy, and Hitman. That's not
Yes.
Sam Hyde. Sorry, dude.
K,
And-
Effigy, and Hitman.
Yeah, and I guess because Brandon has been panel sitting a little bit, I'll pick him too. I'm trying to be fair to the people who would want the conversation. So,
Hey,
Take off those suckers and stand in your square. Good choices. Good choices.
Wait, who is the fourth person? I'm sorry.
Brandon.
Brandon.
Brandon. Like I like that guy's forehead. It matches the top of his head very well. He's got like this whole thing where his skin matches. It's crazy. Angry man, I'm glad to know that you're Mexican. Like he was telling us earlier. Oh wait, no, never mind. Sorry, that's not what you were saying.
Benny Johnson. It wasn't CNN or whichever network source you claimed. The original threat was made on Benny Johnson, which is a podcast.
Benny Johnson.
If we go back to the Kimmel fire,
I know Benny
it should have
Johnson.
been,
Okay, I had
it
to
should have
think
been
about it.
Fallon. It should have been Fallon, but
I think it should be all of them at the end, right?
But also,
Fallon
I
sucks
don't
too,
support
really,
it. I don't
but-
support it. I don't support it. I think the issue with it is like collective blame and collective guilt. I think most people who aren't hard left or hard right are generally really put off by that when somebody throws something on your plate and says you should feel like shit about this or you should do something about this. Most people don't respond well to that, and I think that the conclusion of those sorts of politics, at least from the left over the last while, has been things like cancellation, cancel culture, and sometimes censorship. And so the right weaponizing this from a reactionary perspective to say, okay, remember when the left used to cancel you? Remember when you couldn't say X, Y, and Z? It seems then weird to go into this sort of like, when they have the mantle of power, it seems weird that they would then kind of double down on those policies and in some ways make them worse, right? I think the First Amendment attacks from like Trump, the GOP, Trump is just a figurehead.
Why
is
you
quite
don't
hypocritical.
like Fallon?
I just think
Unfunny?
I think Fallon is corny. Like Kimmel, they're both.
He
kinda
wasn't
corny.
even funny on
Fallon's got a
Saturday
corny
Night
laugh.
Live.
Fallon's got a corny laugh. It rubs me the wrong.
I'm sorry.
He likes to laugh into the camera, too.
Here's my thing. I'm not a huge fan of Fallon. I like
Only
it better.
thing he did that was funny was Night at the Roxbury. That was it.
No, nah, bro. Look, let me tell you something. Jimmy Fallon playing, pretending to be Barry Gibb is freaking hilarious. I don't care what nobody says. That shit was funny as hell.
Was he in Night at the Roxbury? I don't remember him being
No,
in that.
he was not in Night at the
Yeah,
Roxbury.
like, he was.
Oh no, wait! It was the
long
other
after
dude that
that.
kind of looked like him.
You talking about Chris Kattan?
Yeah.
and Will Ferrell? Like that was
Yeah.
years
They
before
are the
Fallon
same
started on
person.
there.
You didn't know that?
Yeah, they're the same
dude.
person, man. They look the same. They're both white. They're Mexican.
We
Or
all
something.
look the same. I'm a little bit blue, honestly. If you look at the skin shade, you know.
Can somebody correct me? But I don't think anybody of high power had anything to do with Fallon. I heard it was multiple like smaller stations that collectively decided not to.
They didn't collectively decide. They got collectively. They're owned by a parent company. It's Sinclair, I believe. The biggest media broadcasting company in the world said is pulling all of its small local affiliates shows of Kimmel.
Wow.
Yeah, and Disney is the one that owns them at the end, and Disney said that
this
he's
is
fired
literally
indefinitely.
big corporations using big government to do political silencing.
I don't know, man.
I know you don't know. That's why I'm encouraging you to look into it.
I did look into
thought
it,
it was
and I came
Paramount.
away with the conclusion that Disney, the people who own the network that he was on, fired him for his comments over Kirk. That's what every single news website says, and it says that the
course that's
FCC head. what the
How
fuck
many
is the dude's
websites
name?
did you look at in 5 minutes, Trippy?
Brendan Carr, literally the head of the FCC, said it's only the first shoe to drop, meaning like we're taking the fuck over. All right, we're done with this bullshit on this whole woke thing. Fallon fucked up how many fucking times over the last like 10 years? He has made stupid comment after stupid comment.
So do
He's
you
called
agree
people
with free
fascist.
speech
He's
or
called
not?
people fucking all sorts of names.
Do you like free speech or not?
I don't give a fuck if it was free speech or not.
Well, I'm
okay,
asking you your
Dusty,
position on the
he
topic.
He helped to
I-
radicalize people
What
like
is-
Tyler Robinson. He
What
helped to
is
fucking
your
radicalize people who will assassinate people.
You
it
need to
doesn't
have a-
matter if it's free
on the
speech or
topic.
not, dude.
I haven't heard that one yet, bro.
So you're not a fan
I
of
don't
free
give a fuck if you heard it or not yet, Mr. fucking beard face over there with your little stupid
you're
fucking
woke.
hat and your
You
stop
recognize
sign.
that you're just
I don't give a
another
fuck
woke
what you said
right?
either, Dusty, who's trying to call everybody else woke and trying not to sit
You're
on
woke.
one side
You're a
when your
woke
fat
clown.
fucking ass is literally more right leaning than half the panel, you idiot. Because you
I'm
don't look
principled.
into what you're actually
Yeah.
talking about,
Well,
and you just want to be the funny little Fred Durst guy.
No, you are woke. You don't have any
I
idea
don't
what
need to be fucking woke to see reality.
reality.
I am not woke
That is
because I
free
see
power.
reality. Jimmy
you
Fallon
don't.
ruined
Nobody-
his own damn job and got fired over his own behavior because that's what happens after time passes if you keep being stupid on the fucking airwaves. And if you
It's-
keep
so if
putting
you
yourself
say-
out there like that.
saying things that people that makes the government mad, then the government will have your job fire you. Is that what you're saying?
No, it's not because he made the government mad. It's because he lost all of his fucking viewers. He did nothing but make his own show worse and worse over time, and he lost his job eventually. Do you realize how many times he got away with that kind of stupid shit?
And he should get away with it forever. Everybody should get away with saying whatever.
No, he shouldn't.
The government should not be. So you don't believe in free speech at all?
No, what I am saying is that when you have a television show and all you're doing is killing your own ratings, eventually you get let the fuck go. Usually, right?
By your employer.
No, he was being protected by his woke ideology, and now that's over with. We don't have to keep kowtowing to it.
Who is the entity that was protecting him?
All of fucking media. The people who put gay people in every TV show, trans people in every TV show, the people who make as Angry Man had put it earlier, when there's a white protagonist who's or when not a white protagonist, where there's a female protagonist.
Sinclair, the biggest media company in the world as far as local broadcasters go, is the one that that pulled them from all their.
Disney made the decision. The owners of Sinclair.
So okay, right.
Disney made the decision.
Huge companies that are protecting wokeness actually didn't protect his wokeness.
After time, look, they kept losing out every time they protected his wokeness, so they let him go in the effort to make money, man. It's not about woke for them.
Effort
after
to keep
all this time.
He
lost his show.
You have both big business and government regulation.
He lost his fucking show because he was stupid for all that time, and they just now gave him the repercussions. Isn't that hard to believe?
Stop attacking Kimmel and start defending the government's actions here.
I'm not defending the government's actions. I'm defending the actions of the company that owns the show that he ruined. How about that?
You're right. They should fire him.
He should have let him go a long time ago. We agreed.
Put out of business by the regulator.
He didn't get put out of business. The guy made the comment after Jimmy Kimmel was fired, and he took credit for it.
No. Bro,
look into it. You keep telling me to look into it. You're over there on fucking Grok.
There, I'll play.
Are you on Grok or ChatGTP, or is it Google?
I'm on X.
So you're Grok. Then.
You've been looking into this for 10 minutes. I looked
into it a little bit more than that before I came on.
Yeah. So the FCC,
we both like sowing a little controversy.
You don't think the FCC chairman threatened the company
afterwards? After he was fired,
how could
he put out a threat to the rest? Maybe not specifically to Kimmel, but he put out a threat to the rest. And I don't think a single network is going to be willing to pick up Jimmy Kimmel because they know that he's not going to make their network money.
Because all of them have to adhere to the regulations of the FCC.
It doesn't matter.
They can't pick him up.
Well, I mean, of course, everybody has to adhere to the thing, the FCC, except for us on the internet as of right now until they take that over.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that the FCC is run by right-leaning people, or do you think is it run by the same people who ran it when Biden was in there?
It doesn't matter what tribe is running it. What matters is that you have a government institution silencing private citizens, and
they're not silencing private citizens
telling private businesses what the fuck to do. Yes.
No, they're telling public businesses and public citizens. You think that Jimmy Fallon would be considered a private citizen?
Public business.
A public business,
private,
yes.
There's private. You understand that something that's publicly traded on the stock market is still a private company?
Either way, it's owned by what? One single entity, one single person? Or is it owned by a corporation? Is it owned by a corporation? Does it have many people who all put their heads together to decide things?
You tell me, which one is public ownership? Is it owned by a corporation or owned by a person? What's the difference between public and private ownership?
I'm not 100% sure. Why don't you fill me in?
I know the fuck you're not.
Well, why don't you fill me in?
So why are you arguing with me if you don't understand?
Why don't you tell me since you know so well? Pink shirt. Come on, man. Come on. Just tell me. It should be fast. I know it's not going to be a long.
A public entity is a government entity, basically. A private entity is owned by private parties. So even if it's a publicly traded company, meaning anybody, you or I, can buy shares in Coca-Cola, it's still privately owned. I'm a private person. I'm not a government entity. So when I buy a share of Coke.
Right. So when Disney made the announcement that he was fired indefinitely, what, do you blame the FCC for that? Because Disney made the decision to finally get rid of the guy that was losing their money? You know, Disney's been losing money on movies too.
Are you saying that the government coercion didn't have anything to do with his firing?
It probably didn't. It never did before, did it? Because what? The government just wasn't saying anything about him radicalizing people and helping out insano people think about what they're going to do with their gun?
Wall Street Journal. Disney pulls Jimmy Kimmel show after Kirk remarks. Right
after
there.
Kirk, Wall Street Journal says that. Fucking
after Kirk
CNN remarks. Says that it was before he said that. So which one's right? CNN or Wall Street Journal?
4 chapters that he wrote in Project 2025.
Project 2025 is what it is. Did you read it? Did you read all the pages, Dusty? I mean, not Dusty. Sorry. Sorry, Dusty. I know you did.
Bro.
Fatty, did you read through all the thing, or are you just going to complain about it because you heard other people complain about it?
940 pages twice, bro. I did.
So I appreciate you so much right now. I've never heard someone fight so hard for free speech the way that I do. Thank you.
Hey, man. Look, I am all for free speech, but he kind of ran out of viewers. The viewers got tired of his free
The
speech.
question actually came in for you, Flo. Dusty, a better question for Snow Vader would be, are you a free speech absolutionist? And this was in reference to earlier.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not a free speech.
or not.
No, I'm not a free speech absolutist.
And I don't even know that I am really, but
if Biden's FCC guy would have done this to like Fox News, right, we would all say that that's fucked up, dude. Nobody on this side would say that that's not fucking right. Okay.
You said what? You said what? What did he say? Say that again.
If Biden's FCC chairman went to Fox News and told them to pull a fucking show off because it hurts my feelings.
You mean like how they kicked Tucker off of there?
Yeah, they kicked Tucker
Or
off
Glenn
there.
Beck.
Like, what are you talking
Yeah.
about? Y'all are literally saying shit
I'm
that
not
already
advocating for that.
happened.
I'm saying that it's fucking wrong and it's fascism, just like Flo.
Well, what about Dan Bongino?
I appreciate you, Flo.
Well, what about
I do, dude.
the countless conservatives? What about the countless conservatives that had their
Sorry, I didn't have my mouse in my hand.
shut down?
Right.
I felt it.
What about Steven Crowder, man? He got kicked off of Fox
Wait.
too.
Are you referring to the countless
wasn't-
conservatives that had their bank accounts shut down?
Oh, see, he doesn't even know. Like, see
Wasn't
what I mean?
Crowder like a camera guy?
Why don't we start now? Since we can't change the past, right? All the what about is we all missed a bunch of shit in the past, right? But we can look at the situation now and say,
That's stupid.
right now, moving forward,
That's
do
stupid.
we agree with this?
That's stupid. The reason why it's stupid is because it's a private company. Who's going to sit here and tell me what to do about my company and how I lose money or gain money? How are you going to justify that? So this whole argument is stupid.
What?
Whoever works for any company, you are subject to whatever you sign on your contract when you sign for that company. I don't
The
care if
government
you're
shouldn't come in and put their
small
boot
person
on your
or
neck,
if you're a
right?
top dog. It doesn't matter. And
Do
if-
rights apply to that?
I'm not
What's
even
that?
sure what point he's making.
I'm making the free speech point. You can't just sit here and say things and do things and not have consequences for whatever job you have. Doesn't matter if you're Joe Smo working at McDonald's or
But should
somebody
the
working-
government get involved in that?
What do you mean? The government didn't get involved in it. They just
Yes,
ultimately.
Yes, it did. That's the
At the
point
end of the
here.
day, at
They
the
made
end
the
of day-
threat. They made the threat. The FCC made the
right.
threat.
Okay, well, even-
Bishop says, I would rather watch Conan O'Brien and his puppet dog instead of Jimmy Kimmel.
Hell yes.
Hell yeah.
But then he also says, I'll take Jay Leno over Jimmy Fallon. What's
All day long.
F out of here.
Definitely. Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
FOH.
Jimmy Fallon should have never had his job in the first place. Let's be real.
Yeah, I agree. Dude, did you guys know that Jay Leno said that he would love to come back, and instead the network just completely got rid of late night altogether after Colbert? Like,
I'm not shocked.
Jay wanted to come back.
I'm not shocked. I feel like Jay Leno was the beginning of the decline of late night.
I like his car show. I like his garage.
Yeah, he's got some nice cars.
Hell yeah.
Bishop follows up again and says, son, give me Jimmy Swagger over Jimmy Kimmel.
Dude. Give me
And then-
Angry Man over Jimmy Kimmel. Like, let's get
That's
Angry
fair.
Man a late night show, man.
All right, I'm going to
Yes.
get angry about this one.
JB says Dems, P1, the right are fascists. P2, it is just to unalive fascists. Conclusion, it is just to unalive people on the right. Also, Dems, what? We're not inciting violence.
All right, so this is just stupid as all fuck. Just because I call Donald Trump a fascist does not mean that I am calling for political violence upon the man. This is ridiculous. I've heard this from so many people, and just all of
Okay,
this.
What
It's
is a
just.
fascist?
Are you a raving lunatic?
What is
Mm,
just
no.
let's start here. Start at the
Okay,
beginning.
No,
so
I
number
don't
one,
know.
wait a second. So number one, let's address that. You're not a raving lunatic, right?
No.
Okay, so you're not going to operate like a raving lunatic. However, if you're on the television every single day referring to Donald Trump as a fascist, saying that he's a dictator, all of this stuff, a raving lunatic on the left may be inclined to want to do something about that. So it's not about you as a person that have a rational mind. We're talking about individuals who are not rational minded and are impressionable and easily swayed to doing certain things.
Like man, how many subscribers do you have?
Kind of like how people used to get conned into sending televangelists money because they thought they were talking to them.
No, they just send Trump.
How many is Angry Man taking responsibility for all 800 some thousand of your subscribers' actions?
No.
Okay, so then why would Jimmy Kimmel take that responsibility that you won't?
No, that's not about this. Okay, so first of all, it's not about Jimmy Kimmel taking responsibility for the people that's watching him. The reason why Jimmy Kimmel is in the shape that he's in right now is because people who watch the show, not the lefties that agree with him, but most of the country that watches the show that are sick and tired of entertainers preaching to them. This is the reason why their numbers have went down. This is the reason why people would rather come here.
And over numbers. This was not a business.
Hold on for a second. Hold on for a second. Let me just say this before you go back into that. Okay. We get it. The FCC chair is Palpatine. We get it. But look, here's the thing. When you have this constantly going on, because this has been a constant decline, not just in late night talk shows, but in news, movies, television shows. People are sick of it. So Jimmy Kimmel just finds himself in the middle of the perfect storm right now. You can sit there and say, well, it was because of the FCC chair, but I guarantee you it wasn't just because of that. That probably added to it, but he already was on his way out the door.
Maybe, but it happened the day after the threat. And if you're basically being told, get rid of him or we're putting you out of business, you can move forward assuming that's the reason that he was gone the next day.
Big question. How do you put them out of business, bro? How would they go about putting them out of business? Answer that question.
Because the FCC issues licenses to broadcasters. If the SEC does not renew a broadcaster's license, they cannot operate.
What else is going on other than that, though, right?
Paramount, they're not a cable channel; they're broadcast channel.
You're getting ready to do a merger, right? Like $1 trillion merger, right? And not being able to have like the government involved in that would be pretty cool. So
Nexstar is trying to have a merger that supersedes the limit that a company is supposed to have as far as the number of broadcasting stations. So they really need the FCC on their side right now because they want them to break a rule.
Yeah, extend their monopoly. They want to make it bigger.
Screw us all
Here's the thing: like we're not acknowledging, because you also have the Skydance and Paramount merger, right? We're not acknowledging that just maybe, just like somebody said earlier, this is the pendulum swinging back the other way.
Yep. I've been waiting for this since like 2017.
If I shoot somebody and they die, but they had cancer as well, would I get charged with murder?
Cancer. You just cured cancer. I was put you in jail.
Is that a murder defense then? Well, he had cancer anyway, so it was going to happen.
Yeah,
I would put you in jail for curing cancer.
I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying. Like, I get what you're saying, but the point that I'm making,
trying to disagree, but I'm like winning at whack-a-mole up here. Pop up.
Striking It Rich says Flo is right. It's a slippery slope, and people on the right cheering on someone being canceled is peak irony. The small hats are rubbing their hands. Oh.
We're not doing that.
And JB says,
"Can we just clear that?"
JB says, "I'm so eager to hear your opinion, grown man who collects toys."
You're action figures, not toys.
I am a grown-ass man, and I love Transformers, and I am completely unashamed of that. And if you want to make fun of me for that, fuck you.
Yo, Sam, wait a minute, you didn't even have to do that, bro. I got it. You didn't have to do that. Put me on the screen.
Wow.
Put me on the screen.
That glorious collection.
Oh, I see computer equipment too. Oh, we've got things in common, Sam Hyde.
My virginity is growing back the longer I look at
that. No, actually, I have two of the 6 of Devastator right now.
That's awesome.
I'm working on getting the rest.
Hashtag let's buy Flow State action figures to fill his background.
I'm proud to not even know what those are.
I'm going to head out. Yeah. So thanks for having me on, Sarah.
Oh, you know what?
Okay, have a wonderful
Good night, Kay.
Good night.
Yeah, I was gonna say no attacking dudes that collect.
Yeah, you got the Thundercat sword, don't you?
Oh yeah,
Look
hell
at
yeah. I got
holy shit.
Have you got the Highlander sword yet?
Nah, I haven't got that one yet.
Dude, I know a toy collection that we could all pay to get Flo to have in the background.
Real men have real swords, bro.
Yeah.
Don't you have the Infinity
Real
Gauntlet too?
men of genius.
My sword's a little bit limp. I got a limp sword.
Can we clarify something really quick? If this was just a normal canceling, if this would have been just like a whole bunch of right wingers got together and they were pissed about what he said about Charlie Kirk and they had some kind of movement that influenced the company and they fired Kimmel because of that, I would not be complaining.
No problem.
This is about the government putting its boot on the neck of someone over a license that will end their company.
Don't discount the fact that people did write letters to the company and tell them they didn't want Kimmel around anymore.
Nobody got a letter to Kimmel in one night.
They did. They have things like Twitter and an email you can reach out to them with and all sorts of stuff. There were people writing to.
I'm gonna come into your animated world just to light your cartoon caricature on fire.
People tell companies how much they hate their employees all the time.
They just wouldn't listen.
This
for
was
the
a
past 10
direct
years.
threat from the FCC. That's why he got let go.
But Trump makes direct threats to news corporations all the time, and they don't always just start firing people, do they?
It's not a suggestion.
What's the job of the FCC?
If you have the option between
they
doing
won't
what I
let me
say and dying, that's not a choice.
And I don't know who said that Disney and Paramount was merging, but they got their information wrong.
What up, Chuck?
It is not Disney and Paramount.
I didn't say Disney
Chuck, you know
and
about
Paramount.
broadcasting.
Somebody did.
I said
Chuck, you
Skydance.
understand broadcasting, right?
Yes, sir.
Can a broadcaster stay in business if they're not allowed to broadcast?
Well, I know when I lived in St. Louis, which is a fairly good sized market.
Why are you telling a story?
I kind of want to know now.
Because you got the pink shirt on, you act like a woman. Settle down.
It says maybe I am the drum.
Your estrogen is overtaking the market in St. Louis.
Well, damn.
Soy milk.
What'd you say?
What's your problem differentiating between gender and sex, but you actually don't?
Soy steak.
Tell us your
story. But in the market, and I'm trying to remember the instance, but they refused to air a national broadcast. Instead, they reverted to, they just put on some local programming in place as a protest.
Okay. For how long?
And I forget what the incident was. But from what I'm reading, there was 24 out of 26 local stations that refused to air Kimmel any further.
And all of them were owned by
one company.
All of them were owned by one company.
There was two companies, Sinclair, and what was the other one? Nexstar? Yeah. So, whoa, don't put this ugly mug on this screen like that. But
tell us your story.
Hold on. Here's the thing, Chuck.
And the violin for you.
I didn't. Somebody else was talking about that. I said there's a merger going on between Skydance and Paramount. That's what I was talking about.
Somebody else said Disney and Paramount.
Oh.
And as a Disney shareholder.
Disney had some type of piece.
I believe they own the entire thing when it comes to the network that Kimmel was on. I believe they do.
I still push back on the issue that just because Donald Trump's president and the FCC is a government agency that they can just ultimately just take somebody's license. Ultimately, if you look at the process,
they dropped a threat.
You have to go through a lengthy court process to actually pull it because the freedom of speech part. So
No,
the fact
you really
is,
don't.
Freedom of speech.
You don't. Yeah.
No, you can just take the license and then the court process.
No, that's not how it works. You
don't back for your license. No,
the
they can
court
just
process goes first, and then they take the license when they.
You're
just
talking
do
about
this.
revoking, and I'm talking about expiring. They expire automatically.
Oh shit! I looked down and I saw Soy State down there when you talked, Flo. And I was like, "What the fuck is that?"
What, did I get a name change?
No, there's
I
a
didn't
photo
change
change
it.
on the StreamYard though.
What is that?
Look at you down there.
What is it show with Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar? What's the name of that show?
The View.
The View. Okay. There's also the FCC chair said, "Give us a definition. Are they a news program or not? Because depending on which way they choose, they may be forced to offer equal airtime to the opposite side."
Yeah.
Just another
In order to
turn of the
retain a
wrench.
certain designation, right? And that's the
Yes.
thing, the difference, right?
It's just to keep the integrity of fair reporting.
Right.
Right. Well, and categorization, right? So if you're lopsided, then you fall into a different broadcasting license category. So if they wanted
Correct.
to maintain the same license, they would have to be more balanced. But what's unprecedented really across all of government regulation, as far as I'm aware, is a government saying specifically, you have to fire this employee because what he said was offensive and we deem it
I think
incorrect.
you're overreaching your statements. And that's
Technically, the
what-
last time it happened was with Nixon.
And
And then Elite Eater. So I want that name, Elite Eater.
Yeah.
Once again, the horseshoe theory of the
Whoa, no,
political
that's a
spectrum.
man's name, Sarah.
I love food. Once again, the horseshoe theory of the political spectrum, far left and far right are almost mirror images of each other. The open end of both about
Equal and poop.
equal and shit.
shite.
Equality and shit.
Yeah.
Equality.
Oh, yeah. Good way to put it. I like how Sarah she de-scrambled that message that came through the airwaves.
Normally I can't. Normally I'm like, I ain't nothing. I don't know what I'm saying.
Better than Wi-Fi.
Yeah, you're gonna be a pro at reading Morse
How
code.
co-
You keep doing this
How
stream.
did we get two flow states on panel? That's scary.
I didn't
point
Why don't we have more is the real question. Some of y'all need to change your avatars.
Oh, we can do that.
I could. I'd have to make myself actually a little bit more.
You need to get me a Pope state.
My hard drive isn't big enough to hold your ego, Flo.
There's Flo's favorite. There's Flo's favorite. His little toy.
That's what we should get. That Flo should have a shelf of those things behind him.
There you go. There's your toy collection.
Anything is a
There
dildo
you go.
brave enough.
Yeah, if you're brave
Whoa.
enough, dude. You got like cacti up there, you know.
Lindsay's not here.
You ever watch those ER shows where they find things up there? They get some weird stuff.
Oh,
Mhm.
I went to school with some nurses. Woo. The stories they told.
What was that guy's name? Wang, the guy on YouTube. You guys ever watch his video about weird things found on ER or on X-rays? And he talks about that dude that with
You
the
asking us
thermometer.
if we watched a dude named Wang do weird
Asian guy. He's been on YouTube for years. Yeah, Wang. And he talked about it. I'm
Isn't
surprised he's-
with the FCC right now really no different than when the FCC took all the labels and music artists to court and made them put parental advisory stickers on their albums?
Parental advisories were voluntary
That
to
was
each artist got to
like
choose if they wanted
So
it or
where-
not.
Where does everyone stand on the participation trophy concept? In
retarded.
riding with the idea, even all the way up to the DEI hires and so on and so forth. Where's everybody stand with that?
If everybody's a winner, nobody's a winner.
Coaches, you've all coached your son's teams. You've all coached your daughter's teams and stuff, right?
If everybody's a winner, nobody's a winner.
There's a better. You said with
Go ahead, Fatty. Go ahead.
There's a reason, right, why every team gets a trophy.
Why?
Okay.
You guys haven't been
We're-
parents of kids that play in like park and rec sports or what?
Yes. Yes.
My kid
D-ball.
doesn't suck.
So you're paying for select clubs.
So do you give all your kids birthday presents when it's one kid's birthday?
No.
Exactly.
Wait a minute.
But I do on Christmas though, and I do at the well,
Well, Christmas is for everybody, but when it's someone else's birthday, when you have a birthday party, do you make sure everyone else gets a gift too?
I do solicit donations.
That way they don't see.
Right?
You lose.
Coach, right? As a coach, I like it when the parents ask and offer to do this, because as a coach, right, it gives me like real opportunity for some team building, like we do after the game, right? Like learning how to take a loss.
Do you give them all the same trophy too?
You
Like
lose incentive to be better.
Why aren't you teaching them how to be winners? Hold on. Why are you teaching them to be losers instead of teaching them to be winners?
Because every team goes
exactly.
So the participation
clarify
trophy
that.
was
Clarify that.
When everybody wins and gets a trophy, nobody wins and gets a
If
trophy.
you as a
It's
coach think
meaningless.
that your job is to teach your players how to be good losers, you are not a qualified coach. You need to get the fuck on.
Yeah, I would use it more as a motivation. Paul says, question for the panel. If woke is good for enlightenment, then why must it be forced upon us rather than let it be a natural process of knowledge?
I love this question because actually, from my understanding, woke comes from the Enlightenment period. Like that is actually where it comes from.
God.
But it's the extreme of it. So it's taking it's taken to extreme.
Woke is a thought.
So is enlightenment.
Sarah's is too.
Hold on, can I get my definition of woke?
Who's a woke thought?
So
your mom.
because
nice.
She is.
Because we've seen where staying awake can mean vigilant, right? So like when you look at the creation of the country,
hold on.
moving forward with what would be called liberalism, John Locke, right? That stuff. That's literally the definition of enlightenment. He used enlightenment in his theories to create his theories on what we actually use now in law. So now it's been taken to the extreme, way out on a limb.
You're thinking too hard about it. It's not really that deep.
No,
This is brick flow. He can't think because that requires a thought.
Here's the reason I want to bring this up, because I'm a solutions guy. I believe that
I'm an ass guy.
That we
Are you?
I'm a kitty guy.
Hey, agree.
Go ahead, Greg.
What if you got both?
I like solutions.
That's preferable. Yeah, that's a prerequisite. That's required.
You know what? Yeah, I think we're all going to change our answer.
Go ahead, Rick.
And the solution for me is education in most things, right? Education. I believe that people really don't understand what they're getting behind, right? We've moved and we've achieved a lot with what we would call enlightenment and liberalism in the law, right? So we have the 14th Amendment now. Hey, that's great, but we don't need to push it so far that social justice becomes something like firing somebody over free speech. That's crazy. That's crazy.
This moment, this era in history, in human history, if we survive it, it is going to be considered one of the dumbest eras in human history, because we actually think that we're enlightened and we're still pretty barbaric in some of the things that we're doing, and we're acting like it's not barbarism. It's kind of like when you look at the videos from the pandemic and you see people walking around with trash bags on and freaking and we can look back at it now and be like, oh my God, we were idiots. Like, what are we doing? It's the same thing with this entire concept of wokeness and all of this. If we survive it, we're gonna look back and say, okay, we were enlightened.
But we're not going to get smarter and stop making dumbass mistakes. We'll make dumbass mistakes in the future too.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to the future where I make bigger and dumber mistakes as time goes on. It's going to be.
I have
wonderful.
been making bigger ones as I mature as well.
I want to, man. That's just what else is life.
I
right?
can't wait till I'm old enough that it's expected that I make mistakes.
Well, let me one of the mistakes you made, that why I came up on panel. May I do that, gentlemen? Is that okay?
Who made a mistake?
You and Trippy together.
Oh no.
Both of you. Yes. Are you ready? I'm gonna spank your ass, Trippy. Now listen.
Whoa, I'm in. I'm
used to it now.
It's like what? Come here. I charge admission now.
Was Trippy the ass man? I didn't hear who was the ass.
Bruised.
What's your cash app
from last time?
I don't know. Are you an ass guy, Trippy?
Hey, Flo said, "What's your cash app?"
Oh my gosh, yeah. It's on my page. Look, gentlemen, it's not all about the FCC, okay? Like, you have frontmen for a reason, all right? It's like when there's things happening in contracts or squabbles or anything with a label or a production company or a network, they'll have a front man and they'll put out the reason why, but it's not really the reason why. And I'll tell you the reason why. His contract, Kimmel's contract, was up in May this year. Does anybody know this?
Okay.
Well, I know that there's
back to
contract
the
was also
shooting
up.
somebody with cancer analogy. So fucking what?
Yeah, his
Well,
contract. was up.
the point is he was already up on the chopping block. His contract was up. So the mere fact
Doesn't
that this
matter.
happened during that time frame, then it's a perfect excuse to let
When
go.
was
And the
his
ratings
contract-
are down. The
was
controversy
his
is up. But hold
contract-
on. Let me finish. Second of all, I watched the clip of Kimmel. I don't believe.
Well,
that
hold
he
on.
was-
No, let's address the first bad point before we
Okay.
move on to
The
second
bad point. All right, sure. What is it?
Okay, when is his contract up?
It was May this year.
Oh, it's already expired?
Yes.
So they were keeping him on.
Well, you can't just get rid of somebody like that. There has to be something to replace it, or they have to cancel it.
There or
They
like
were in a
something like
decision.
something
Contract
like
is up May
something
of
like
next
the
year,
FCC
not
chairman
this
saying
They
that
were
he's
in,
not-
they were in negotiations.
Right.
Keep
and
in
so-
mind, ABC
No,
is
he
owned
had
by
a year on his
Disney,
contract
which is
left, so he's gotta
the
pay or keep
biggest
up.
woke company.
But it has
Keep that
nothing to
in
do with
mind.
the fact that, but that has nothing to do with the fact that the contracts were in negotiations already. Okay, so this was the
None of
perfect
that shit
excuse.
matters.
Yes, it
It
does
doesn't
because it's
matter.
called trimming the fat. If the ratings aren't
Not-
there,
no,
the money
he
isn't
didn't
there.
Trim fat. I don't care how bad your health is. If I shoot you in the
No, that's
head,
what a pair-
I don't
what
know
kills
what the
you.
reference to the health is.
I'm
but
raising my
okay.
little hand. Effigy is correct. His contract was going to be up next May, the 2026.
So
No
and
matter
my
if he's on
point
the air or
is-
not, he still gets his money because that's what a pay or play contract is.
Yeah,
It
they have to.
doesn't
They have to
matter
pay. Yes.
If somebody's gonna die in the future anyways, if I shoot them and they die now from the gun wound, I murdered them, right? That's murder. If he was gonna get fired in the future, maybe not. Doesn't matter what would have happened. That didn't get a chance to play out because the FCC capped him.
I don't know what. How did that
You're-
case
you're
end with
missing the
Dr.
point.
Kevorkian? Because
You're missing the point. How
we got
many
any
of
precedent?
you are from the industry? Raise your hands.
We're all in the industry right now.
No, you're not. No, you're not. You're
You
on
don't have to
YouTube.
be in
This
the
is
industry to
literally
understand
show
how
business.
contracts work.
No, hold on.
This is
This
show
is for the
business
common
right
man.
now.
It's
We
being
are in show business
infiltrated.
right now. This is show business. Yes.
head got stuck.
It's being infiltrated by the networks. There's a lot of industry plants right now. I could
If
be
the
one.
government, hold on. If
Right.
the
I could
government
be
steps
one.
in
Hey, I
and tells
see you.
YouTube to get rid of somebody, that's a problem. Is
Hey,
it not?
I've been telling them to
But
get rid of the
you don't-
guy
you
for
guys don't
years.
understand how contracts work, so therefore you're not in the industry. If you're not signed
But
by a major
again,
label, a
YouTube
major
has
corporation,
already
you're not in the
done
industry.
that.
Sorry,
How
you're
Okay.
not.
how a contract works? Wait,
What? Hold on. Yeah. So, what is it about Jimmy Kimmel's contract that you think is unique to contracts that we
It's
can't
not
understand?
unique. No, there's nothing unique
Okay.
about what has happened. It was just a perfect excuse to trim the fat, get rid of the rate, get rid of the guy with the low ratings. No one watches TV anymore.
Could the company have said no?
I suppose I'm not them. This is not.
I mean,
it's not up to
well,
me. I've seen
You're
it
right.
happen
You're right.
before.
No, nobody gets to actually know what could have happened because they did what the FCC said. But just walk through the mental process. What would have happened if the company's like, "No, we're going to keep Kimmel on," and the regulators like, "Okay, well, we're not going to renew your licenses." How would that have affected the company?
It would have affected them majorly, but that's not going to
It
happen
would have
because they
ended
make
the
a
company.
shit ton of money. They deal with all kinds of stuff.
What
Yes.
we're working with is they did not have a choice. It was get rid of him or you're toast.
A threat. A
That's
literal
not
threat.
true. You keep saying that they're not just toast.
Yeah,
No,
it
literally
seems to be that way. It seems to be
quote-
that way.
The quote
It seems to be that way.
Quote
You
was-
guys are still buying the bullshit.
You know what?
That's
You know
that's
what
the
Carr said?
problem. Is
You know
you
what
guys
Carr
are still
said?
buying the bullshit, huh?
Do you know what Carr said? Do you know what the guy
Go
said?
ahead and tell me.
So the guy
But
said we
we
can
just
do this
watched
the
him say
easy
it.
way or we can do this the hard way. That's what he told ABC.
Like that, exactly like that. Those words.
So
Yes.
what is it? What is
Yes,
it you're trying
exactly
to say?
those words.
That they were
Yes.
threatened? You think that threats don't happen all the time behind
So
the
a
scenes?
threat's okay though. A threat's okay.
Yeah,
No,
it
this
makes
is
them all the
this is
time.
part of the
So it's
course,
okay
honey.
for the
This is
government
part
to
of
just
the
come in
course.
and threaten
It
people.
happens
This
all
one
the
didn't
time.
even have corruption happens behind the scene. This wasn't behind the scene.
Doesn't matter.
It was during a podcast, like Flo was telling me.
I already made the point. You guys, it's
government's
nefarious.
corrupt. When
This
the
is
government's
nefarious
corrupt,
point.
you're saying, oh,
I
it's all
don't-
good because
Look,
it's my
Clay
feelings.
or Brick. I don't see it as government corruption. I see it as, a lot of people wanted to see Jimmy Kimmel off the air for years. And I see it as there being multiple. Hold on a second.
Mattered.
There's multiple excuses for why this happened. The fact is, it already fucking happened, right? I know we can complain about it. We can say like that's stifling free speech, but
I'm not.
No. I'm not saying that you are.
Hey, I didn't care much for the guy.
I feel like he
I
earned
didn't
it.
watch him. I didn't
He
even
sucks.
watch him.
He sucks. Yeah, he sucks.
But the
I'm not-
problem for me has always been government corruption. I'm actually
If
in
you
the
do that
business
again,
of
Nova, I
this.
was about to start agreeing with you, actually.
No, I refuse
my
to
other
let
point-
that happen. All right.
My other point is I watched the clip of what he said. He didn't really deserve to get kicked for that. He didn't really say anything that
It was smaller than others.
It wasn't that far out to get canned
It
for.
really
So,
wasn't that. Yeah.
No, it
but
really
my
wasn't.
point, and again, my point is not to defend Kimmel. I don't think he ever should have had the job. It's
No,
to
he should never
attack
had
the FCC chairman. He should not be doing that shit at all.
Let's see Sarah with a
Well,
late
it
night
just
show
seems to
or
be a
something.
I think what
government
I'm trying to
agenda.
propose to all of
Yeah.
you is this: don't buy
Girls
into
aren't
everything
funny.
that you see and everything that you hear. You
And that's
understand?
I agree with you now.
So the
Yeah,
government
they're
has
just
always
telling
had
us shit,
agendas
though.
in media. If you
They're
go
gonna
back
tell us
to
whatever they
going
want us
on.
to
I'm
hear.
gonna
movies
buy
that
into
have
it.
been released, a lot of them apparently have to be reviewed by military writers, especially ones that are dealing with war. So there's always been agendas being presented by the government. Like we
That's
have
not
freedom
exactly-
of speech, but we don't have freedom to broadcast. And I wouldn't say that it's corrupt. It's working as intended. It's just a change in agenda.
No, it's
And,
not
man.
working as intended. Look, businesses.
Well, it is.
The
That's how
FCC
it
is in
works.
charge of licensing. It's not in charge of HR for that company. To tell a company which employees it's allowed to employ is massive overstep in any industry at all.
Well, was it for
Unless you're
employment
cool
or
with
was it to get him off
fascism.
the air?
That's
Could he not
employment.
be employed by the company?
That is an employment decision.
Well, yes, but like, could he still have a job, a
I
position?
mean, as a
at the
janitor,
company?
I don't know. It didn't
Exactly.
get that far.
Well,
That's
that's
not
the
his
employment
job, though.
angle. But he
No,
doesn't
he
have the
didn't.
freedom
He
to
didn't get
broadcast
fired. He didn't get
nationally.
fired. His show was suspended indefinitely. That's not fired.
right? It's like, hey, we're gonna put you on hiatus for the rest of your life.
Technically not fired.
Uh,
Cop being
JB
suspended with pay.
JB says, woke presumes that there is no natural social cognition. It's all power and narrative control.
Correct.
David Loans says, Bino Nation salute. And then again, over on your side, Boot Ryan's twin Hitman. And we definitely do recognize Boots from all channels. So, and Hitman, this is officially a boot for the evening. If it's $100, unless
Can I ask him
somebody
something?
chooses, hold on. Unless somebody chooses to revive you and save you, they can send $100 in to negate.
All right,
this
I'll stick
boot.
around. I got hope. Someone
Yeah.
revive
Well,
me.
I'm gonna
need
give it. I always give it 2 minutes before I kick you out of the backstage. So
That's all that
but I-
anybody ever needs, isn't it?
It's all they need. Trippy wanted to ask you a question, and that should give us about 2 minutes, and then you can say your goodbyes.
Hey, Hitman, how do you look like a less straight Jeffree Star?
I don't know who is Jeffree Star. Is he all tatted up? Because I
Yeah,
have
just
no
go Google him.
I have no tats.
You'll think
That's
he's
messed
hot.
up.
He's a
That's
lot,
messed
he's a
up,
lot more
Trippy.
thin than me, though.
You ain't shit for that, Trippy.
You don't watch SpongeBob? So
Hey, he's okay. He's a good sport. Is Ryan still back there, Sarah?
No, he
Aw.
left after that final boot. I think
Sadly, he
was-
died of an aneurysm.
The
I
last
think
100
he
that came
He was
through.
so
that
I'm sure he's
frustrated
having a
at black
stroke.
people who didn't realize that they needed saved by him that he stroked out. Rest in peace,
Yeah, I was
Ryan.
gonna say I'm sure he's having a stroke on his live stream right now.
do I get to say